Do not adjust your computer screen or TV if you happen to be that sort of person watching this on that sort of device. You are not seeing things. Some would say this is an invasion. A little bit of a takeover. A little bit of fun for the evening. Yes, it is the Angry Eagle. It is the Goblin King. 82 production here on Steve McRae's channel, deciding to take over because, well, sorry, Steve. You made a boo-boo and made a promise, and I'm making you live up to it.
I lost a bet.
Oh, and what a glorious bet it was. So, for anyone who is uninitiated on who I am and what I do, I am Jared of 82 Productions. Have been around for a while. Been coming up on a year and a half of doing this stream itself, where a bunch of current and former military get together and have a few drinks, have a few laughs, rip on each other, and talk about whatever the hell comes to mind. Sometimes we have a point, sometimes we have a topic, but generally, it's just a bunch of people having a good old time. And yes, if anyone has any questions about any topic whatsoever, I do pay attention to the chat, mostly. I'm not perfect, no one is. But if you have a question for anyone on the panel, general topics, experiences, whatnot, bring them on. We're unlike some people out there, we're not afraid of questions.
But do you have receipts?
Only ones that are not incriminating.
So you want to like kind of tell, because I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, what is this? And why is it on Steve's channel?" But kind of say like who's in here, what military branches we're part of, how do you work your thing? And by the way, sub to him. By the way, the link is in the video description. So right now, before you guys do anything, go over and sub to Jared's channel because that's why we're doing this. So you guys are aware of this program, so you can go watch it on his channel next week. It helps when you sub to do that, though.
It does, especially because when you set up the notifications, you will be told when I go live, because there are a couple series of routine live shows that I do, unless work intervenes or other things take precedence and priority away from the computer. Friday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. This is who you see. This is what you get over there. The veterans just having a good old time. But then, as some of you know, there are a bunch of nerds, geeks, dweebs, whatever you want to call us in the group, and a tailored select few of us also do a sci-fi specific stream on Saturdays, and actually the next installment is tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, where, holy crap, I'm going to need even more alcohol for that one.
Have fun with that. I won't be there.
Yeah, the regular crew for that stream is Thoughts by Jay Brown. We also have, well, the icon that just popped up here, BM Furball. Myself.
I will also not be there. I apologize.
Oh, you guys are leaving me out to dry and actually deal with the stupidity that is Star Trek Picard and other things. Because guess what? The fourth member of our bridge crew is Geostraber. And he said he may or may not be available because, well, unlike these other two, he has a legitimate reason, in my opinion. He got accepted for a PhD program and is beginning the process of moving.
Hey, I've got a reason. I'm about to get on a plane to the Mideast tomorrow.
I have work.
I'm going to be watching Picard.
Don't.
Actually, no. I'm sure. You know what? I'm not even kidding. Do you know what I have on a tab right now that I was watching before this? Star Trek Picard, episode 1. I'm about 40 minutes into it. I got 5 minutes left to go. This is what he just sees before. So now you're going to tell me how crappy it is and that I shouldn't watch it and it's a waste of my freaking time.
Oh, no.
I was just listening on Doom and playing about Picard for like 2 hours earlier today.
Oh no. Undoomed has felt the pain. Doomcock has felt the pain. Nerdrotic has. Lore Reloaded. Anti-Trekker. Let's put it this way. It has enough of the nostalgia points to give you that little bit of hope. But then it just wants to punch you in the gut every chance it gets.
Disappointing. I don't want.
That's putting it mildly, Steve.
I'll give it a
You'll-
shot,
you-
but I mean, can it be any worse than Discovery?
Well,
Um,
on
Debatable.
on par with Discovery.
I don't mind it so far, but then again, I'm not a big Star Trek fan, so
yeah.
I actually took time to see episode 1. I have no desire to see anything beyond that.
God's auditor, you're not allowed to have your own opinion and thoughts. Don't you know that? What is
Yeah,
wrong with
sure.
you?
Bullshit.
Damn.
Oh my god.
And now, for a little bit of bonus points when it comes to watching Star Trek Picard, so I do have my own Discord server, which is linked all over my channel. So if you go sub over there, take a look in a video description, you'll see the link to the Discord server in there. Channel members and patrons of mine have special access to their own area, where this upcoming Monday night we are going to be starting a way to try to make the series easier to watch by turning it into our own little private version of Mystery Science Theater 3000, or for those who are otherwise uninitiated, Movie Night. That is done by Sean Hufford and Cy Strikeling. So, where drinking is, again, not only encouraged, sometimes it's a requirement.
I was going to say, if you're doing Picard, I say it's not a requirement. It's just a more, you must do this or you will not survive.
Mandatory.
Yeah, it's more of a survival instinct.
Well, again, we're all former or current military on the panel right now. Let's be honest. All of us had a drug of choice to make it through, be it some sort of addiction. Some people got addicted to getting tattoos and other shenanigans in that way. A lot of us turned to the bottle, and then there were other activities that
Mine was
some
straight up
people-
Jack Daniels. Straight up Jack Daniels. I'm telling you that. That's just probably why I don't drink nowadays that much. I really honestly don't. I'll
That's not what Uni
indulge
says.
every so often, but when I was in the Navy, I mean, a fifth of Jack Daniels would last me, easily a weekend. I mean, I would finish it in a day or two, and that's a lot of damn alcohol. But I just like my Jack Daniels, and that's how I spent my weekends.
Yeah, I was beer or vodka if I had a PT test coming up.
I was always beer.
I was beer until an impromptu long weekend road trip to Apex, North Carolina. That ever since then, I cannot stomach the smell of any American Pilsner, be it Busch, Bud Light, Coors, any of them. I cannot stomach the smell of them. Still to this day, 18 years later.
Most
Jared,
of
I
those
will
beers
give
are
you-
technically
I-
Belgian now, though.
I will get you some Shiner Bock and let you try that. I will ship it to your doorstep.
Hey, the Nimitz.
Shiner box, okay.
Now, see, here's the thing. There are two American breweries that I trust to actually have a beer from. Sam Adams and
I like Sam
Yingling.
Daniels. Sam Daniels is really good beer. I like microbreweries, but I also like the wheat beers. But again, I mean, I'll have one IPA when I go out, and I'm done. I can't stomach more than one IPA.
Oh, I enjoy Sam Adams' selection of IPAs. They're pretty good.
They're really good. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
those are really good.
I love the Cascade IPA. That one's just glory.
One of the few IPAs that I actually enjoyed. See, I've always been more of a stout and lager type. So when the boat I was on pulled into Australia the first time, we were out on the west coast in Fremantle, Perth area. It was the only time I did an MWR, Morale, Welfare, and Recreation sponsored trip. It was called Beer, Wine, and Song. They got a bunch of us together, filled up 2 coach buses, and drove us out to a vineyard for a wine tasting. where everything except the top shelf wines, unlimited taste testing, no charge.
I didn't do.
should've joined the
I didn't
Navy.
do anything in Fremantle.
Oh.
I thought Fremantle was boring. Melbourne was much better, but I did do one of those welfare, whatever the hell they're called. I did one on PP Island, and basically it was a little fishing expedition off the coast of PP Island in Thailand, and they would give you all the gear, and then you would catch the fish, and the mama son of the boat would take that fish like right there and there, fry it all up, put a batter on it, fry it all up there, and you have fresh fish. Like that's your lunch. It's delicious.
Oh, phase 2 of this trip went to some quite literal shack in the middle of a field about 20-25 minutes away. German immigrant family run farm, fresh, homemade, complete German cuisine with their own brew of Belgian wheat. They also had a couple bitters and actual homemade, I guess you could call it microbrew beer to go with the meal.
Did you have strudel? Any strudel?
Oh, a schnitzel.
Schnitzel.
Oh, the schnitzel.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. And
I like schnitzel.
and then after that part of it, this is where the song aspect comes in, because we're already 3 sheets to the wind at that point, and they have us together on think upscale Greyhound bus, and they take us to yet another little stop, little hole in the wall with a full service bar, while we wait for a riverboat that is packed to the gills with beer, wine, and a few other beverages of choice. For us to take a lazy little trip down the Swan River into downtown Perth, getting absolutely shit-faced the entire way.
Why are there all these marine pictures?
'Cause I'm trying to find marine means.
Yeah, what's up with all the marine pictures?
Yeah, there's all the Navy stuff, man.
Wait, you mean you're trying to find the cuisine of Cran? Which, by the way,
No, Tech found that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I noticed that had come up a couple times from Techatron. The Friendly's ice cream of Crayola colors.
So Jared, let me ask you, why do you think of the military law? Because you have to go through NATSAP training of some kind, right? So Navy, like we have the Navy alcohol program, right? Everybody has to go through that training, regardless.
Oh yes, the oh god, what was it?
Because they know you're going to drink. They know it's going to happen, right? They know even underage drinking, it happens. But why is it you think like when you get done with your duty and you're off and you go on liberty? Why is it that like 90% of the people go hit the bars, like every single, or get a hotel room and just drink?
Because that's the only way to feel alive inside.
Yeah,
it's sad, but I think that's actually true.
Well, there is
You
that
spent
aspect to
all
it.
day having it sapped out of you, so you have to fill it up with something.
Well, and not just that, not just having it sapped out of you. Let's think about the situations and how insanely detail-oriented military training, no matter the branch, is. I mean, it starts day one in basic training. Day one in boot camp, you are getting screamed at fractions of an inch from your ear because you breathed the wrong way.
Yep.
Do you remember your first barracks inspection?
Oh my! Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Who doesn't?
No. Before we had our first barracks inspection, we had a tornado.
Oh,
We come back from
Wait, a
the
legitimate one or a drill instructor, a drill sergeant tornado?
oh no, an indoor tornado. We get back.
Yes.
We get back to the barracks. We get back to the compartment, and I thought it was a joke when some people said, "Don't be surprised if you show up one day and your rack, your bunk, is either on its side, on its end, or straight up upside down when you walk in."
Yeah, we had the same thing. There was, like, I don't know, like 6 or 7 racks that were just dismantled, right? And we thought, oh, we failed the inspection, right? Come to find out, they were just messing with us. We actually had it perfect. Nobody messed up anything, but they still did it anyway. They still have these racks. They just went through and destroyed them all, even though and luckily, one of mine, right? I had everything perfect, and I was thinking to myself when we're walking back in, I'm like, oh, thank Jesus that mine's not on the ground, but all these other ones you see on the ground, like you fail as a group, right? And so we're like, we're screwed.
Yeah. So I'm not sure about the other branches, but for the Navy, even still to this day, certain recruits are picked out for particular collateral duties to, in addition to their basic training that they're going to be going through, that they're responsible for. And some people may have heard the terms RPOC, AROC. So the RPOC is the lead recruit who is ultimately in charge of the division, who only reports to the RDC's recruit division commanders themselves. So basically, if anyone fucks up and they're getting punished, guess who is right there alongside with them? That person, because it's, hey, you let this person fuck up, you're getting punished right along with them. And then you have the second in
doesn't
command.
sound familiar from the Army side.
I remember mine. His name was Cahill. I kept touch with him for a while. I was actually EPO in my boot camp. So there was the RCPO, there was the Master at Arms, and there was 2 EPOs.
See, now add in, I was the divisional yeoman, which meant I was in charge of everyone's training record in the division. Every transfer in and out of the division, every appointment that each person had, I was in charge of making sure that all the paperwork was in order and people were where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be for dental appointments, vision appointments, and all of that nonsense.
And that was at basic?
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't have
okay, so what
started
size
day one.
What size element is a division for you guys?
Started out with 120. We graduated with a bare minimum of 80.
Different definition of division.
Yeah, no, because I'm sitting here thinking like 50,000 people. Jesus Christ!
No. He's talking about my division, like our boot camp division was basically. I would say we would start off maybe with 80, so it wasn't as large as yours, but it did dwindle down. We did lose people throughout the pipeline in boot camp, no question about it. So I think that most people made it. If you can make it halfway through boot camp, you're pretty well good to go. That's the roughest.
So for us, we had platoon guides that were, in charge of every platoon. We didn't have anything at the company level, and so platoon was between 30 and 80 people, and then the company was like at most like 200. And so we didn't have anyone at the company level, but we did have platoon guides who were, the guys who were picked out. You're the best. Oh, you're fucked. And they were responsible for everyone. So that was about as big as it got in ours.
Yeah. No.
Here you go, Jared.
Nice.
Well, the big secret to boot camp, as anybody ever joins the military, is keep your head down, keep your mouth shut, and get the hell out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your goal is for at like week 8 of boot camp for the drill instructor to look at you and say, "Who are you?"
Who are you?
Yeah,
Exactly.
you don't want to have a name.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I actually lived that. I mean, I did this day when I got out. I don't think my instructors would have no idea who the hell I am, really. Even though I was an EPO, I just avoided them like the plague.
So,
Oh yeah.
I was the section leader. I still friends with my company commander on Facebook.
I'm Facebook friends with a couple of my drill sergeants, but mostly because like they actually liked me because I wasn't a piece of shit. So, yeah.
well, and so with my position being the divisional yeoman, I actually was in the office a lot of the time, actually making sure all the records were straight and everything. So there was a bit of special treatment that did take place because when they were doing a special training session with someone in the office, I was only asked to leave the room
training.
twice. But I had one condition that saved my ass. If I ever made a sound when they were yelling at someone, I would have to join in and get whatever punishment they got right alongside of them. So I got really good. I got really good at biting my tongue until one day the chief is actually in there, and and she said something. I can't remember what it was. All I remember is I actually let out a chuckle. And she was like, "Oh, you think that's funny? Wait a minute. When was the last time you did any of this shit?" And here's saying, my response. I remember my response because it was my death sentence. To be honest, Chief, I don't think ever. Oh,
Oh, you didn't
really?
plan,
We
ahead
are
on that, did you?
we are going to
you've done
change
it
that right now. Oh yeah, I was right outside of
Oh.
the office doing mountain climbers and all sorts of shit for the next 2 hours. But here's the thing. I was laughing during the entire time of it. She was like, "You're going to keep doing it until you stop laughing." Well, Chief, then I will be here for the rest of the day, and kept right on
I got
going.
really good at using those things that Jay Brown had a picture of. They're called the buffers. Wax on, wax off. I mean, you had to strip. You're so good at it because you had to use one to strip everything down, and then you had to lay the wax down. Then you had to polish it. And you did that like once or twice a week. Even it was ridiculous how most of your time is spent waxing floors. It's true. That's what. How many times did you have to wax a floor, Jared?
In basic, junior basic, yeah, it was
Never.
a minimum of once a week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We never waxed
Yeah,
the
when I
floors.
went
We just
through- when I
cleaned
went
the shit out of them.
In
Oh,
A
I was
school,
stripping wax.
in A school and C school, we joked that FT meant floor tech.
Our floors were buffed nightly. That's what the fire guards would do at 2 o'clock in the morning while everyone else is sleeping. You'd try and sleep
Oh,
as you
yeah.
hear the whoa, 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 whoa going by the head of your bed.
What did you guys had
Now,
co-ed
I
boot
will
camp?
say,
Yeah.
I will say during boot camp, because I was part of ship's company, we were stripping and waxing every week. But in the divisional berthing, they didn't strip and wax until week 4 during service week. They didn't do any of that until week 4.
Hmm.
Well,
Because there were 95 of us in there in my division to start with. We weeded out the 6 in the first 4 P days. We got rid of 6 because one guy literally fractured his back carrying his duffel bag, carrying his sea bag from
Damn.
the Golden
You only had 3
13
P days, by the way. I had P1,
from the
P2,
Gold-
and P3.
Oh,
We
we
had
got
5.
we had a full freaking week of P days.
Nice.
We had 7 P days.
You got lucky
We were-
then, because our P days was
Oh.
easy as shit.
oh
too.
no.
No, by the time that we got through with P days, we had been in a week, and I'm like, when the hell are we getting out of P days so we can actually start our training? Because they couldn't touch us until we had been medically cleared for duty. It took medical, at great mistakes, it took medical a week to clear us.
Oh,
Okay, so I'm
that's
starting
why
to
you had the
translate
extra
I thought
days.
Navy
P
now.
days were cake. I didn't have a problem. And then I was realizing, after P3, when you finally start, first day at boot camp, you're like, oh, now it sucks.
Yeah, God's auditor, they're speaking Greek to me too.
Yeah, okay. I have no idea what the hell a P day is, but for us,
Processing.
as near as I can tell, it's this equivalent to Army reception.
Yep.
And for us, reception was only about, or at least for when I was in, reception was only about 3 days. And to be honest, that was the worst fucking 3 days of the entire 11 weeks.
Yeah.
It was
Well, shoot,
terrible.
man,
I think
my
the
building-
absolute worst day was the day we got our clothing and got our sea bags, and you had to stand there with stencils.
Oh, God.
And you had to stencil
CIF
every
sucks.
goddamn piece of
Stencil.
that you were issued. And how long did that take? Like from
All day.
morning to night, you're standing there, and you're just stenciling shit. And you're doing each one takes about a half hour because they have to walk you through it like you're an idiot.
Oh no,
You know?
no. See, when we got to boot camp, and they put us in divisions, and there were about 300 of us that got squashed into 4 divisions. Some of the other divisions were already waiting half a dang day to go through processes, to get through the process of just getting all your gear. My petty officers decided that they wanted to have us stencil all of our stuff because it took us until 6 a.m. to get through the doors, to get through all the gear, all the assessment, everything else. from 6 a.m. until taps that night.
Mm-hmm.
At 10 p.m.
Oh yeah.
we were up. So all of us had been up. Any of us that came from Dallas or LA, we had already been up 24 hours at that point by the time we saw the rack.
It's hell. Yeah, put that
Yeah.
stencil thing back up that cap, because I have actually had dreams that of having the stencil stuff. I mean, legit, when I got out, I had dreams.
Oh my God.
Oh my! And I'm thinking to myself, am I stenciling this right? And that shit does not come off. That lasts your entire time.
Oh
in.
no! Yeah, that
Oh no.
for
That's
people.
permanent.
Yeah, so for the audience out there, what you're seeing there, that is not marker. That is a paint pen. Literally paint onto the
That's a
fabric.
dye.
I remember paint
I think I just found something that's better about the Army than the Navy.
Yeah.
We didn't have to fucking stencil everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was highly encouraged, but we weren't required to.
We were required
No.
to stencil everything.
Not at all.
Yeah,
It
we
was
were.
like, hey, guess what? Your drill sergeant's going to throw all your shit on the floor, so you might want to figure out which one's
Yeah.
yours and write your name on it.
And it had to be
But-
exactly the way they told you, right? It had to be okay. It was 4.5 inches from this side, 2 millimeters from this, whatever the hell their thing is. It's like, you fuck it up, they will ream you. So
No,
I made sure
for-
that I got everyone.
For Army, they didn't give a shit about the stenciling. It was just like, hey, here's a stencil that you can have. You can use it if you want. You probably want to use it, but do what you need to do, bud.
Now,
Really,
at
that was an
Warnock-
all-day thing for us, just sitting there and going step by step on how to
at
stencil
basic
things
training,
properly.
at basic training, we didn't have to do that, but at Warrant Officer Candidate School, that was a requirement for every single item of clothing.
Yep.
Yeah, I never made it that far.
Which makes sense. I mean, because you mix all your laundry together, so kind of
No,
want.
There, it wasn't for mixing your laundry together. It's because they're going to throw all your shit in a pile.
Yeah, but in the
have to
Navy,
go, which is
all your
your
laundry
That
gets
was
done.
basically laundry in the boot camp. Everything is
Yeah,
got
when
thrown
you're in the Navy, you're on a ship, right? I mean, all your laundry gets done at once, right? So
Yeah, we had.
For your socks, what you want to do is you want to tie your socks around your belt loop so that you don't lose your socks.
Wait,
I did
Once you
that.
got your-
Wait,
yeah, I done that with my black socks.
wait,
Especially.
wait a
I'll
minute.
tie 'em in the belt loop.
Wait a minute.
That's
Steve.
The problem is I
Yeah.
still do that to this day.
Yeah, no, I know.
You
That's a good way to do it.
you actually used ship's laundry?
Yeah, I was a machinist mate. I didn't get special. I didn't get special laundry privileges, but I had special food privileges. So my bestie was the baker, and he was in charge of part of the gallery. So, I mean, at the 2:00 in the morning when he's making bread and stuff like that, I'd be like doing mid-watch or something, and I'd be like, "Hey, what you going on?" And he's like, "Dude, try these calzones I made. They're freaking amazing."
Yeah.
So
Big X was
Always get in. This another piece of advice my dad told me: always make sure you have a friend that's a cook or chef.
And-
You want to get
wait.
good with them.
well, the minimum 3 people that you have to make friends with at your first command, especially if you're ship's
Supply.
company, someone in the galley, a cook, not someone who's just there temporarily, an actual rated cook in the galley, someone
That's
in
their MOS. Yeah.
yep, someone in supply, and someone in medical.
I
Yeah.
was really good friends with the MS1 and one of the MS2s. So
So okay, on this picture here, okay, for your boot camp, was that you had? So you had like we had a female company, but they were on the opposite side of boot camp in Orlando. We never had
I was-
photographs like this with us together.
I was in Orlando in an I company, integrated.
Really?
We trained. Yeah, we did all our training together.
Now Orlando,
was in
wait, is Orlando
So they
still
were-
there? Is the boot camp still there? 'Cause
No,
I know,
no.
yeah, I know. A nuke school went away there.
I,
Yeah, it's
I
always-
went through in '93.
I got out in '93.
Yeah, by the time I joined in 2002, the only location for Navy boot camp was Great Mistakes outside of Chicago.
So
Yeah,
is
I mean,
that picture is Orlando?
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was,
that's
90
Orlando. That's the
96, Navy closed San Diego, and they closed Orlando. So it's only Great Mistakes now.
Who was that CO? That first class there.
the one in the middle.
The,
The
the
two
one-
chiefs of the first class. Yeah,
not the
that's,
chief. Yeah, but
yeah. FC1 Sawyer. He was. My company had 2 company commanders. We had the chief there, OSC Miller, and the.
God, he looks
first
kind of
class.
like my. I had one, but mine was the second class. He kind of looks like him a little bit, but
They all
6
come
years
off
after
the
I.
line.
Yeah, because I went in 1987 in Orlando,
Fuck, you went in when I was born.
There's Cahill and what was the other guy's name?
But we were
That
two
was
different
good.
companies. We were two different companies that had like our own company commanders and barracks, but we all our training was together, and that's how the I companies operated.
Ah,
So
nice.
Yeah, so
we marched together. We went to classes together. We PT'd together.
so the way it ended up working for the integrated divisions in Great Lakes now, the way they do it is, well, when I was there were still the old buildings that were 3 floors, four compartments on each deck, on each floor. So you had 4 divisions, 4 recruit companies per floor. The integrated divisions, the co-ed ones, always were across the hall facing each other. So the way it would work is one division was the official house owner on one side of the hall, the other division that they were paired with and on the same pacing with in training, they were on the other side. So what they ended up doing is during the day when it came to actual training events, your co-ed divisions were together in their own home compartments. But when it came time for late night, end of day routine and sleeping, all the females were in one compartment, all the males of both divisions were in the other.
Yep.
Yeah, for Army, we had in my company for basic training, we had 4 platoons total, and then 3 of the platoons were male. Well, I mean, okay, they were all integrated, but the way the sleeping arrangements were was that 3 platoons would have their own barracks, and then the females all had their own barracks. So it all got a little weird, but
Yeah, I didn't have any integration in, I was at 98, but it was also combat arms, field artillery, in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So we didn't
Yeah.
have any females through the entirety of training.
All right.
yeah, I was 2012 and we were all support. So
I had a friend of mine that went through boot camp in Fort Sill in '98, and he said Fort Sill sucked balls.
Oh, yeah, I can attest to that.
So Jay, go back over to
Well,
the
not any
actual
good ones.
RTC side. So okay, so stop right there. So there's see the road that's kind of winding towards the top of the screen. RTC was on both sides of that road. Your actual receiving was on the north side of that road, and then which is also where the wet trainer, the pool, where the fire trainer, and also the confidence chamber, the gas chamber. All that was on that side. All that was on that side. So on
That
this
day I'll never forget either.
Yep. On this side of it, so see those 2 big empty plots that are just grass now?
parade fields.
Oh, no. The parade field is the parking lot to the left.
Yep. Yep. That's where the parade ground is.
For,
That-
for-
that's
for
the
those who've never
grinder.
been in a gas chamber, that's one day that you wish you had died.
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't
absolutely.
so bad.
It
for
is
me.
the most horrifying, ridiculous
wasn't that bad.
experience.
You know,
Oh, fuck, it wasn't.
you know what?
I
know,
have
okay.
allergies, so
I-
I was really messed up.
That is the
day.
closest I have honestly ever come to thinking I was actually going to die.
Yeah, your lungs are gonna like this be coughed up.
Oh.
Your mucus, you basically lose every fluid from your head.
I
Well,
must-
that's
I must
definitely
be-
true. But for me, I'd already been
Here you
smoking
go, Jared.
cigarettes
Oh,
for 10
good,
years by
good.
that point. So
You're immune from.
Yeah,
you
no,
smoke- you smoke, you're immune to it.
So legitimately,
Scroll
I
back
got
down.
into the gas chamber, and they make you take off your mask and everything,
to
and my eyes are
2002.
burning, and for some reason my forehead's fucking burning, but my lungs, it's just like, oh, this is
That
a
works.
nice feeling. I
Scroll
know
down.
this feeling. This is interesting, and I actually had to fake like I was choking, otherwise the drill sergeants wouldn't let any of us out.
Oh no!
Yeah, you,
Oh no!
you have
No!
to
No!
breathe,
No!
you have to
Oh,
like
okay.
breathe it in. You hold your gas mask over your head, and you have to
So-
like they force you to breathe it in, right?
Oh no! So
There's
here's how it was when I went through. Because I was a division yeoman, I was not in line with everyone else. I was guarding the door with the other division yeomans from the other 3 divisions that were in there with us. So what they ended up
Oh, you
doing
were
is
keeping the hostages in.
yes. So everyone else is in line, shoulder to shoulder, all across the room. Everyone has their gas mask on. They got a Bunsen burner right there in the front, and they throw a couple pellets on and start wafting it towards everyone. Now, what you
Well,
had
they're
to
in
do,
mops gear, yeah.
yeah. So what you had to do in order to get out of there, when on command, everyone had to, with their right hand, grab the canister of the gas mask, take it up and off your head, hold it above your head to your right side, take a deep breath, and sound off your name, your rank, and your your social, your serial number.
Yep.
And you could not leave until everyone in your row successfully did that.
Yeah, you have to. And they make sure you breathe it in. They make
Oh,
sure
They
you
made
just
us
don't-
answer fucking questions.
Oh, there was some of that went
It
on
sucked.
too. There was some of
Yes,
that
gas
that
sucked.
went on too. But
Yeah,
here's
there's a
the
meme
kicker.
out there somewhere. There's a meme out there somewhere of the gas chamber and just this plume of smoke in the middle of it. And the quote on it is, "Who says you can't smell a picture?"
I love it. But here's where they really went sadistic though.
Technically, you can't because you can't smell
No.
anything because it burns.
It burns
No,
your nose.
so here's the thing. Being one of the door guards of this, we got lumped in with the last row.
Oh, God.
Oh, you got to watch it all happen.
Got to watch it all happen, and then last row
That
steps
room is
up.
permeated.
Last row steps up, and it's like, everyone else, get in line. And the RDC doing it, the drill instructor doing it, looks in his hand, looks at the entire line, and drops 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more on top for the last row because, hey, got them in my hand and we didn't use all of them on everyone
Might as well use
else.
them up.
Yep.
Okay. See, we didn't. When I went through, we didn't have to do the answering questions or state your name, rank, da 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 da. All I remember was a handful, just a handful on top of the thing, and then the pain started.
See, this is why I say I must be sadistic because it made me cough, but that was about it. Now, see, Jake, go back down to it. I want to point something out to people. So,
All right, where are we going?
just right there, scroll down a little bit to get more of RTC in screen. All right. So, go back to where your cursor was there to the top 4 buildings. They numbered the buildings and called them ships. They were ships 1 to 4, then 4 to 8, on down. All those similar shapes, those are all the barracks that we were in. Those were the old barracks. So where your cursor is right now, that was the new mess hall. There was an older one right there that we used most of the time. So
I use this one.
oh, you lucky son of a bitch.
Yeah, they numbered ours in
Bastard.
Orlando too. In fact, Jared, you probably would have liked mine.
Now,
'Cause I
let
was
me,
in-
let me, let me
I was
go
in
back.
Division
let me go back real
5.
quick. Let me go back real quick because going back to the gas chamber, okay, there's been only two other times that I've actually felt worse than being in the gas chamber. Okay, both of them when I was going through my commission course for private security in Texas.
You have to be maced for that.
Yeah,
We had,
okay.
we had to go through the pepper spray,
And
Oh
you
yeah,
had to
pepper
be-
spray's
and-
worse.
Oh, yeah.
and we had to go through the taser.
And you had to
and
say
the-
you had to be the stunned or tasered, yeah.
So,
Oh no,
Which
I
is
was
worse,
one-
the gas or the taser?
oh,
the
yes.
gas.
the pepper spray's worse than the taser because they use the 2.8 million Scoville.
Yeah, the super hot.
Oh.
Yeah,
habanero
no,
shit.
the pepper
Ghost
spray
pepper?
doesn't stop. The taser, you get jolted and
You're
you're
done.
fucking done, and you're on the ground, and it
no,
takes you a bit of time to
no,
recover.
Let me tell you my taser story.
Oh, by all means.
Okay. We were holding a female, and she was about to get hit with the taser. She didn't just get one of us; she got both of us. We're both
Oh,
guys,
there you go.
and she grabbed both of us by the crotch.
Damn those
Oh.
instinctive reflexes.
Hmm.
You know, she got hit with that, and she fucking lost it. And I'm like, I wanted to get up and punch her when I finally recovered. because the instructor thought it was funny, so he held it an additional 10 seconds on her. Look and squeeze those and break those pecans, baby. Like,
Did you have sharp training after that?
no, we didn't have we took Wing Chun classes after that because we got them at a reduced price. But you know, there's nothing like having a female grab you by the balls.
Well, I'll
that's
second that. Yeah.
that, sharp is that Army sexual harassment training.
Oh,
No, no,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
across the services
Yeah,
now.
Yeah.
No,
Is it sharp all the way now?
This
Yep.
was in private security. This was 3 years after I got out of the Navy. The year after I got out of the Navy in 2000, I went straight into the private security sector, and I haven't left. I'm still sort of involved in it because of my heart attack. Yeah, but mostly what I do now is advisory for the office, and that's about it. It doesn't pay much because they don't need my services very often.
Well,
Hey, Jared,
let's be honest. It doesn't pay much because you don't have the physique they're looking for.
No, it doesn't.
Hey, Jared,
pay
I've
much
got to
because
dip
I'm
out.
not able to stand out in the field anymore.
All right, Furball.
Enjoy.
Peace, Furball.
To
I'm gonna
hopping
dip
on a
out.
plane.
I'll be out for a couple of weeks. No comms, so I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Wish me luck.
Well,
Good luck, man.
Have fun
Stay
in the
safe.
sandbox.
God.
Assalamu alaikum.
Later, guys.
Enjoy, dude.
Oh,
But
that's the church right there.
Yeah, the chapel right there.
And I'm sorry I've been quiet, but JC should be getting off work soon, so I'm going to go ahead and cut out so we can get ready for movie night.
All
What
right.
time
Have
is
fun,
your
Sean.
movie
Right.
night? What time is
Have
are you
fun,
talking about movie night on
So-
Side Strikes thing?
Yeah.
So, yep.
Okay.
Movie night is in just over 2 hours. So,
Awesome.
so we pretty much end up being a pregame for that,
No, that's cool actually.
and
Yeah.
and unfortunately, because of my work schedule, I haven't been able to join movie night as much because usually I'm exhausted by the end of this. Which
Yeah, they're too late for me.
Well, you're saying tonight and tomorrow's going to be exceptionally bad because we're doing a full show tonight. We're doing the regular show, which means I'm not going to end up getting to bed till midnight. And I have to be on the road at 4 a.m. to get back to the site that I've been at the last 3 days to finish up testing on an upgrade to a manufacturing line because someone tried to do fine-tuning without having all of the inputs available.
Oh, say it ain't so.
Gotta love that.
I can only ask the question so many times. Would you like to have some stuff actually running through this so you actually have your main speed reference going? No, we should be fine without it. Okay. 4 hours later.
Your call, homeboy.
You know what really pisses me off about the changes to Great Lakes that they've done through the years, Jared? They got rid of the McPawn and they got rid of the Golden 13.
Well, the MCPON had issues because they put an asshole into the position who made it to where all of the support staff who actually helped the position do what it was supposed to do all fucking quit and took early transfers out of there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that...
McPawn Hall was where, the day after you do your boot camp graduation, that's where you usually meet your parents at, or your family at.
The
get you off base and take you into town.
Oh, the drill hall. The drill hall's still there. They just made a new one.
This is McPawn Hall that was already gone by the time you got there. They tore that down in 2000.
Yeah. Well, no,
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. That's done in the new drill hall, which actually is right there under the cursor.
Yeah, no, this is. Go back up to the top real quick, Jay Brown. Okay. All right. Go to your left.
Into
Right,
the residential area?
No, it's just past the residential area. You see that big building there? Where that set next to the empty field to the left, that was McPon Hall.
You, damn dog. Back when?
96 to 98.
Oh, gotta love the Wayback feature of Google Earth.
Hi, vegan.
Hi
Yep,
there. Hi guys. How are you?
Hi, welcome.
Hey,
Aloha.
G'day.
Good
I figured
Nabin.
you guys needed some chicks on here.
Well, I did send a message on the Twitter to Karis, and let's see if she actually
Yeah,
responded.
represent. Represent. Integrate. Were you in
Do we
wait,
need
vegan? Were
Karis
you
to
in
represent?
integrated boot camp? Or you were in a?
Yeah,
it was integrated.
It was an integrated one. We went to boot camp in Cape May, New Jersey.
Coastie.
And yep, I'm a coastie. And my
Wait a minute. You're too short. You're not 6 foot tall.
nope, 5'6" and a
females,
quarter.
females
Oh,
don't have to be 6 foot
no,
tall.
it's on the
to join
no,
Coast
Jay,
Guard.
it's on the other
Learned
side
that?
of the river.
I know. I was like,
He's
wait,
looking
that's
for he's looking for his
Oh, we're
next
going to sub
fishing
school.
trip.
Okay.
No, he's going for his next fishing trip.
No. So here's the thing. One of the big reasons why I didn't directly follow my dad's footsteps is because before I even joined, before I was even close to joining, I knew that base way too fucking well.
I have a story for you guys if you're interested.
Oh, always.
let's hear a Coast Guard story because we've never had a Coast Guard on here since I've been part of the panel.
They're like unicorns.
Yeah, there's not that many of us, and yet there is. It's funny story. I went to boot camp. It was right before September 11th. Like literally, it happened while I was in boot camp.
Oh shit.
And I had no idea that it was going on. And because you're so
isolated.
You're so isolated.
And hyper focused.
Yep.
Right. Like the only thing I cared about was if I'm getting beat, then doing the exercises. If we're shining breast, that's all you cared about, right? Passing your tests, things like that. Staying awake. And then we actually had a lot of recruits in our company because we had over 100 and I want to say it was 160 recruits in ours. It could have been 120 though. I could be slightly off on that. But as soon as you could tell, as soon as September 11th happened, there was like nobody for like a month. And then the only way we found out about what was going on was we went in. We had some people that had to go to medic, to go to medical, and they started coming back. Like there was some rumors that were coming on because they'd have the TVs on over at medical, and so they would come back and nobody knew what the hell was going on. And so then we were told out of the blue, the commander of the entire base said, called everybody out onto the fields, and we were out there on parade rest or whatever, just kind of chilling, waiting to see what the hell was going on. And he walked up and down the parade field and told everybody kind of the short list of what was going on, that there was a terrorist attack and that many lives were lost, and we had no idea like how bad it was though, because he's like, tonight you grieve, you're going to go. And if you need to make a phone call, which I didn't take, but they're like, if you have anybody that might have been at the World Trade Center or on, the plane or whatever, you can call and they'll have counselors or whatever. But then tomorrow we're going back to work. And and that's literally what we did. The very next day we woke up and went straight back to work. And
Yeesh.
yeah, and so I honestly had forgotten about it because I'm just worried about getting my ass beat and learning what I needed to learn so that way I could go out and do my job. And
Yeah. God damn.
I had literally no idea.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Ghost Guard is that they're actually part of the Department of Homeland Security, right? And so to go into the Coast Guard
That
during
came
the time of a terrorist
tomorrow.
attack
Yeah, that
is
was before
shitty
Homeland
because
Security.
it could actually
before.
it could actually be migrated to the Department of the Navy, and then you become a mobilized military unit.
We
right?
were actually, during that time, we weren't even part of it. During an
DOT?
act of war, you would become part of the DOD, but yeah, we
Right.
were part of DOT. And
Yeah.
so Homeland Security didn't even happen until a few years later. And so we were sitting there, and in fact, on my very first, right out of boot camp, I was put straight on a boat. And so I was on a cutter, and I think we were heading up to Alaska. And it was like the next year during one of the patrols. And all of a sudden, they were praying on the intercom. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, I'm getting pissed. I'm like, what the fuck are they praying on here for? Like, this does not happen. And then they're like, oh, yeah, it's, 9/11. I'm like, what? And they're like, 9/11? And I'm like,
Oh yeah, I missed that one.
what's that? And they're like, were you under a rock? And I'm like, well, explain to me what the fuck it is, and maybe I'll have some context. 9/11 doesn't do anything for me. It sounds like 7/11, or is it what? And they're like, dude. And so then they're trying to explain to me exactly what had happened. And
Jesus.
I'm like, what? Like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, yeah, dude, there was da, 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 and going off of all of these really horrible things. And I'm like, I was
Yeah, I don't
so
remember
shocked.
that.
I was so shocked. I was just like, and they're like, well, where were you? 9/11, September 11th. And I'm like,
Cape May.
right, boot camp. Getting my ass beat. Like, I don't know, I was at boot camp. And so literally when I got back from my patrol, I went and did research, and I found a documentary on it and watched the first documentary on it, and to really understand the impact of that. And I was just like, I was shocked. I was just like, oh my gosh, wow.
Jesus.
When you got out of boot camp and you got undercut, what were you doing? Like law enforcement operations, search and rescue?
Yeah, so we were on a big cutter, so we did drug interdiction and
Addictions?
migrant interdictions and stuff like that. At that time I was a fireman, so I worked down in the engine room. For like the first year, I was down in the engine room just working on the cutters. And it was interesting too because I was stationed out of Hawaii, which you would think would be amazing. And it was, don't get me wrong. But what
When
you
you
don't
were
realize,
home.
right, what you don't realize is that you don't spend very much time there.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been in Hawaii many, many times, and you pretty much if I was there a week, you got maybe 2 days to actually go do stuff at most. And that's really unfortunate.
That's what Monterey was like. Jesus.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of time.
Yeah, no, we spent
But you
most
make
of
the
our
most
time
of it.
kind of in Alaska. We traveled and did a lot of the MBL between Russia and Alaska. So we did that a lot.
And it's interesting. People are like, "Oh, wait, you you went into this area? It must have been great. It's like, yeah, I was part of the last full crew of the Kitty Hawk when it was based in Japan. So Yokosuka, the southern part of Tokyo Harbor. Out of
I was first on, last off. I didn't.
Yeah, out of the entire time I was aboard that ship, how much time do you think we actually spent in Japan? Out of, let's just call it 2 years.
Well, I'm gonna say
Fraction.
6 weeks.
Yeah, you don't spend a lot of time.
Grand
You don't spend a
total,
lot of time out and about. I mean,
well, keep in mind, I was
Grand
on a carrier, but forward deployed, there is a reason why all of my evals from my time there started with the term assigned to arduous sea duty on forward deployed aircraft carrier.
Wait, you had 4? You did
I
4
was
Westpacks?
No, I was forward deployed.
Oh, forward deployed.
We were
I
permanent.
did 3 Westpacks. But
Yeah,
it sucked.
We were permanently out of Yokosuka, which means we would pull in to our home port for about a month and a half in the spring, do a little bit of repair work, go back out for the summer, and come back about middle of fall, be in for about a month, and then go back out for a few months in the end of fall into winter, back just in time, usually, for Christmas.
Yep.
Only to begin it all again in the spring.
We would be out for 6 months, come back in, spend 2 or 3 months in port, and then we would go do Leo ops, and then we go do exercises, and then back out again for Westpac. And it just you don't spend a lot of time on shore when you're in the Navy or Coast Guard.
Well, hey, as a guy in the Army, even when you're onshore, as it were, you don't get to spend a lot of time doing shit in the place you are anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I used to give, so our patrols were a lot shorter because, we weren't on a big old aircraft carrier. Oh,
yeah, you guys had limited supplies, so.
Yeah, so we were out, maximum patrols would be 2 to 3 months for regular patrols. If we were doing a Tiger cruise going to like Europe and stuff, that would be a 6-month patrol. But most of our patrols were 2 to 3 months, and you'd have to make your first port call within the first 3 weeks or 4 weeks, because you run out of stores real fast.
Yeah, we had tenders that would we'd take on stores by tender.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but we were. I mean, my ship wasn't very big. We were out with the Carl Vincent, and them taking on stores is a hell of a lot different.
Every 3 to 4 days.
Yeah, that's them taking on stores is like 3-day experiences. For us, we could take on stores in 4 hours.
Actually, on the Eisenhower, we could take on stores in 72 hours if we had airlift support. 99.9% of the time, we didn't have airlift support.
Yeah, we had support, but side story. You have Pearl Harbor Hickam base right up there. That's actually where I lost my virginity.
All right.
So here's an interesting story.
On board ship.
No, it wasn't.
With an officer.
It was
female.
No, it was an Army
Senior
guy.
enlisted. Senior enlisted.
Yeah.
No, it was an Army dude.
Of course it
Sharp
was.
training. Sharp.
Wait.
Sharp.
Senior enlisted Army dude. That's what we have. We have an E7 or 8 taking the virginity of an E3.
That's how we do,
Did
bro.
you solicit him or he solicit you?
Yeah, I just turned 18. I joined at 17, so I was a baby. But yeah,
we waited.
I had just turned 18. Oh, I had a rule because I grew up Mormon, and so I had a rule that I could not lose my virginity until I was at least 18.
God really appreciated that, I'm sure.
Right.
He was watching, he was watching you lose it.
By then
He was making sure that you're doing it right. He came up with the whole plan. right? He designed the whole way
Well,
that
back
works.
then I wasn't even Mormon anymore because I mean I walked away from the Mormon religion at what 16, but it was still like that meant like that purity, stupid indoctrination that is still there, and so you know
I have one question at this point because my wife has multiple cousins that are Mormon. Okay,
okay.
and including a niece that is Mormon.
I was Mormon
Okay.
too, so go for
You're
it.
not related. You're not related to any Purdue's or Van Dykes or Harrelsons, are you?
Please say Dick.
No.
Please say Dick.
No.
related to Dick.
Thank God. No, my wife's cousin is Mormon, and she is heavy duty into the religion. Her niece is heavy duty into the religion, to the point that I get to hear about it every so often because I'm a former Church of Christ minister.
No fun.
Oh, so they got to tell you that you were wrong.
Oh, they get to tell me I'm wrong every day of the
Yeah.
fucking week.
Of course.
You know what? There's a thing. There's a thing of that. There's a part of that that's called a former minister. I'm no longer active in the Church of Christ. I no longer aspire to be a minister.
Kiki, that's where I was stationed, right over by here. You'll see those docks. Yeah.
What was
So,
an army guy doing there?
So
Trying-
he was doing her.
Wait,
Obviously.
wait.
That's kind of a given.
All
Wait,
right?
Army down at Joint Base Hickam, looking for Air Force, and instead found her.
Yeah, air
actually,
mattresses.
we met.
What qualifications were
We
that?
actually met over at the Halikua. I think
Did you
that's
give him
how
a
you
service
say
medal for it?
it. No.
Not even
One
a
of
Does
gold
that count
star,
as
bronze
cross
star?
training?
It was
He
one
should
of
have
those like
been the service
hotels that
medal.
was in that
You
area.
didn't give him an
the
eval?
Halikua.
Yeah, this is the Helicoa right here.
Yeah, right there. That's where we met because that's where they put you up when you first get in there. So I was
So
there
was it the
for
best
like
was it the best 30 seconds of your life?
I was like a week into it, and or I had just arrived there. I hadn't even been onto my boat yet, and I had met him. And I had to go on patrol, but when I came back, I had his number and stuff like that,
And you
so we
went on
met
him.
up. And what I found out, dude was a complete douchebag. And
No.
right,
He was
Imagine
married.
that.
Let me guess,
Shocker.
right.
He was
Right.
married. He
No,
was married.
Yeah,
wasn't
he
He was not married.
Six kids.
But he did have
He was gay.
another girl. But
course.
I didn't know that I was the other girl.
Oh, so
I-
he
I-
probably
I-
got a
I
he
had a
probably
girl
got a
on Tinder.
promotion for that then.
I was lucky because when people go overseas, they screw around with some of these girls and they get all kinds of stuff. I had a girl that was on Tinder, and every time we get in port, her and I would pretty much hook up for like the first 2 Westpacks, and that was great. I mean, I was like,
Tinder? What?
she was from a tender that would be.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
I
tender.
thought you were saying you had Tinder in like the late
No,
80s,
no,
early 90s.
Tinder,
I'm
not
like,
Tinder.
you liar.
So we would get into port together, and we would just always seem to run into each other, and it's convenient, safe.
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm telling you, like
Don't remember her fucking name,
have
but
like
whatever.
we'd have rules, So
I didn't care what her
but
name was. What was her
there
name?
was always
I don't know, but she looked a lot like you. I
standby.
think her name was Vegan something. I don't remember.
You weren't in the army. It doesn't count, damn it.
You are so wrong, Steve.
Yeah, you know what? In the Navy, all girls seem to look alike for some reason. Look at the
You know,
pictures.
and I attest to the fact that is true.
Yeah,
But
they're
they-
homogenized.
No. We had one girl on my boat on the Eisenhower kicked out for HIV infection.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Ooh.
Jesus.
See, the story gets better. There are 9 guys she infected on the Eisenhower.
Oh,
That's why I'm so glad that I stuck with one. I didn't have to worry about that. And then I had but I had a girl in port too.
keep
but,
it on the same ship.
See,
That was in home port. Right?
Well, see,
Overseas, I didn't
I
have
had-
to worry about any of that shit.
I have always maintained a very simple rule. I don't shit where I eat, and I don't
Yep.
fuck where I work.
Well, that's why she wasn't on my
Exactly.
ship, so it doesn't count.
Well, yeah.
My
See,
ship wasn't co-ed.
I was
Yeah,
married
I
when
had-
I
Everybody.
so none of this ever fucking applied to me.
Everybody.
I mean, I was
Everybody
young,
heard it big
and I
time.
was like
Everybody-
just
She was young and needed the money.
lost my I just lost my virginity. I was
Isn't that
like,
why we all
By the way,
joined,
Vegan,
Steve?
Jared said we're allowed to shit on people. That's what we're doing. So
I mean, if that's your kink,
you know it.
Hey, we don't kink shame here.
right?
Yeah, you know,
Like,
Vegan, you
go
know
for
my
it.
kinks.
Hey, Steve, come on. The reason why we all joined up was because we were young and needed the money.
Right, that's true.
Wait, there was money to be had in the military? Because I didn't fucking get any of that.
Dude,
Hey,
had
I knew how to
like-
budget. I made fucking money in the military.
You know what? Vegan's
I had-
here. I gotta get more wine.
I had two
1
choices.
second.
I do too.
Either I could join the military and save up money for college, or stay. I was living in Mobile, Alabama, and I was working 3 or 4 jobs trying to help pay my family's bills. And I was like, this is not going to work, because if I don't leave now, I ain't never leaving. And so I was like, bye.
So
did it
Kino
for
in the
healthcare.
Kino in the live chat actually does have a very interesting question for all of us. How often did you all leave the base for the weekend? How did that work? Before we answer that, we need a bit of a clarifying bit to this question.
That's true.
At what point in our career?
Yeah, near the end of my career, I left the ship like every 2-3 days. I lived off base, but for like 2 days in a row, you have to like stay on board ship because you got duty, then you got to do this and that. But towards the end, I actually got to leave at a decent hour most nights.
Yeah, I was on the boat. Weekend got here and I didn't have duty. I was gone. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
But for the first year, no, I lived on the ship for my first probably 2 years on boat, and I barely ever left the ship.
Well, the reason why I asked the clarifying question is because for the most part, your first 2 to 4 months, you're in basic training and advanced training where
You don't leave
you're-
anywhere.
You can't leave.
your time
can't even wear
to get away.
civvies.
Well, depends on where you are.
Yeah,
Eh.
that's true.
Florida, we couldn't wear cities. We
So-
in the first in A school, we were screwed. I barely left the base during A school.
So here's the way it worked for the aviation side of things in Florida during the training. So 2 months in Great Lakes, you're only in uniform, you're only on the base. The only time you even get to think about leaving base is if your division had the time after pass and review, after the graduation ceremony, to go spend time with your family if they came in, or actually have that freedom to go into Chicago or wherever and have some
But did you
fun
have to
for
wear
a few days.
Yeah,
But
Army
you
too.
were-
wait,
but-
did you have to wear your uniform?
But day 1, you are in your dress uniform.
Mhm.
Day
Right,
day two, and the rest of that weekend, Saturday and Sunday, when you're not on duty, which because of the position I had, I was off the duty section because I worked so goddamn much during my time there. You were in your working uniform. So
Yeah.
with it being November for me, end of October, beginning of November, it was dress blues and Johnny Cashes for me.
Yeah, you can't. But you can leave base.
But
in
you
those.
could-
You can't leave base in your dungarees.
Correct. So you had that bit, and then I
I
got
like the
down
Johnny
to,
Cashes. Those were sharp.
yeah, and then the Navy fucking ruined the working uniforms.
Yep.
I don't know. When I was in Johnny Cashes,
Oh,
were pretty sharp. I like them.
So we had the Johnny Cashes
win-
and the
yeah, most
and the
of-
summer whites up until what was it, 2007 is when
Yeah.
when it went
And then-
when
and
the
then
change started to
2007,
happen.
2008.
Yeah, 2007, 2008, it started to change. That was a transition period. I
To
was
what?
getting out. So here's the thing. They did one thing that should have been done for the Johnny Cashes. They went with a heavier weight black material for the dress, for the working pant. But we were given 2 options for the Navy-wide to vote on. Either a khaki top,
You guys got to vote?
wait. It gets better. We were given 2 options. Both were Marine inspired in the way that they were cut. One for males, one for females. We were given a khaki option, which is pretty much the short sleeve Marine working in dress uniform top, their khaki one, that top, male or female version, or same cut, similar material, but a gray color. Guess what? Found out a couple years later. Guess what the majority of the actual populace of E6 and below voted for?
The darker one?
The gray top.
The gray, yeah.
Guess which one the Navy went with?
The khaki.
The khaki
Gray
one.
top.
The khaki one, because it saved them fucking money, because it's just like, hey, we'll just beef up the order that we're already putting in for the Marines.
Wait, so you got the illusion of choice?
Yes.
We didn't get that.
Like I said, it gets better. But the Navy actually has done a lot of uniform changes over the past 10 years. And some of them I actually agree with. Yeah, the blueberries were a fucking
I never had the
joke.
blueberry. I'm so glad I never got the blueberry. That was
That's
after
what-
my time. And I also never got into cameo type stuff.
What? So
Yeah, that's what
cameos?
everyone was wearing when I was in.
Nope, they did not exist when I was in.
yeah, the blueberries transitioned to those the same time the working uniform changed. Here's the thing with the working uniform. It made sense for them to change it because they went from 2 seasonal ones to 1 year-round one. But they fucked up the color of the top, in the opinion of many people. But
I like the dress blues. I like the Johnny Cashes. Everything else
So-
is shit.
So here's something that you might like, though, Steve. Guess what the current version of the dress whites look like?
Well, I know what my dress whites look
no,
like, but I
no.
don't.
So take that. That's what they had up until a couple years ago, and now the current dress whites look just and are cut just like the dress blues, but inverse
Just inverted.
color.
Yeah.
So you have the piping on the bib, and you actually have the closed cuff on the dress whites now.
I have one for Jay Brown here. I've got a picture here that'll capture the absolute essence of underway uniforms
Oh yes.
on subs.
Oh, the pajamas, the coveralls. Oh yeah.
Coverall. Oh God, yeah.
Oh,
Coveralls.
Sexy.
Yes, yes. Coveralls are the greatest things underway that
Right.
God ever created.
oh,
That's
oh.
what I lived in my coverall.
Hells yeah.
oh,
And
not-
half the time you
here's
have
the
to
thing.
go
So glad
be
I never
naked
had
and-
coveralls.
Here's
Here's-
the question.
Here's the thing,
Did
not
you
just
wear-
underway, not just
Did
underway.
you-
Before I know what you're going to ask, Coral, and I, but the coveralls. The only time I did not wear those when I was on duty or actually in the shop was when I had to wear my utilities. If there was a choice, I was in my coveralls, whether we were deployed or not.
I love my coveralls.
Now,
Absolutely.
let me take a guess, Coral. Your question was going to be, how many of us went commando under them?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Everybody did it.
Of course.
And you just know it. Especially when you're look when you're in an engine room and you're a fire tech or whatever.
It's
you
so
were-
fucking hot.
oh my God.
Oh,
Now, there was one
No,
time
no,
when we
no,
lost a ship service generator, so that we lost all the electricity. Everything was down. That means the AC units are down. So normally, when you're in the engine room, it gets to be about anywhere between 110 to 115 degrees on average. Sometimes a little bit hotter, 120, 120. It can get pretty hot with no air conditioning.
120 on the Kitty
It got
Hawk.
it got between 140 to 145 degrees. Our stay time was less than 5 minutes. Because
Yeah.
the SSD went down. Well, not the SSD. What was it called? The ship service turbo generator. Yeah, the SSGD went down, and then we had a lube oil rupture because somebody was shifting a strainer on a duplex strainer, and when you shift the strainer, you have to tighten down one side, and then you have to shift it over. Well, he didn't tighten it down, so when he shifted it over, it blew out, and all the lube oil went on the lagging. Well, what happens when lagging hits hot piping? Flammable. That's what happened on one of the. I think it was a Kitty Hawk, wasn't it? They have the same problem. One of those ships
back
had
around the
a
same
lube oil
time, yeah.
rupture.
Yep.
It was a Kitty Hawk, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I never had a
So,
heat issue, so I was
yeah,
either in
so-
CSES or control, so it was always
Oh,
cool.
So that was an emergency situation, and we went down there, and it was 140 fucking degrees, and we were wiping down this lube oil from the lagging, hoping to God that it didn't flash over. If you don't think that you don't think that like military will scare the shit out of you, I remember that distinctive time that I thought we were going to die because I remember the stories of the lagging being soaked with oil, all that steam, and just flashing over. And I'm thinking, holy fuck, man, this is gonna go up at any single time, and you're just wiping this shit down at 140 degrees, with 5 minutes stay time. It's like, oh, please let this end, you know?
Right. It was miserable. Yeah.
How did that tie to uniforms?
I had that
No.
rotation so many times. You know, you would like. I was the smallest, obviously, because I was one of the few females that was down there. So they always try to get us to go down into the villages. So
Watch.
how
How much crap did you got to pull on the bilge?
Oh my God. I was a bilge monkey the entire time, just going underneath the pipes and underneath. And I was so tiny back then
so
too. So I was just going underneath in contortions, just trying to pick up whatever somebody dropped something. And, but yeah, like there were so many times where you're like in the middle, like underneath everything. It's so hot. You're trying to wipe up as much oil as you can. And yeah, I'm like, my skin's gonna turn.
How many times did you like the boat take a list and you reach out naturally to grab something and it happens to be
Oh my gosh, I would get burned all over. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my God. I used to have like these brown streaks on my arms.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the military.
Let me ask Steve real quick.
Yeah.
How many times did you have a Cobalt 60 leak?
The Cobalt 60 was only in the crud traps in the main reactor, so that was in the primary loops. So there was Cobalt 60 there, but you didn't have any Cobalt 60 in the secondary. That'd be a problem.
We had 6 on the Eisenhower's 2003.
Those are your crud traps?
We had 6 emergency situations where they called general quarters for the Cobalt 60 leaks.
Why would you have Cobalt 60 leaks in your primer unless your steam generator had a leak in it?
That's exactly it.
No, I wasn't in the engineering department. I was in the aviation department. So when these occurred, I had no fucking clue. I still to this day don't know what caused that.
Yeah, what happens? Okay, normally you have what's called a crud trap, and the crud trap will have a Cobalt 60 in it. But let's say you have something released, the primary coolant will go through the tubing in the steam generator. Then it transfers that heat to the secondary side. That secondary side goes out and turns the turbines. So if you have a pinhole leak in your steam generators, in theory, you could have radiation crud. It's called crud that can go to the secondary side. But the problem with that is now you've now just contaminated your secondary system. That's not good. So you definitely do not want crud in your secondary.
Well, let's put it this way. They purged the entire freshwater system after that. I did learn that. I did learn that while we were ordered not to take showers was because of the possibility
How would
of
you get lost in the freshwater? That's a completely different isolated system.
I don't ask
freshwater,
me.
freshwater
All I
comes
know is
Some officers
Yeah,
saw water.
that comes from a boiler. That comes from you basically have a steam. You have an evap system, right? Evaporator.
Yep.
Basket. It's called a basket strain evaporator.
Yeah. So something you have to remember though. So Steve, something you have to remember. So I was on the Kitty Hawk, conventional powered. Do you know how many times I actually smelled JP5 in the fresh water coming through the shower?
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know that happens. Oh yes.
that closed system for the fresh water ain't it as closed as they say it is.
No, I know. I agree. I've had JP5 smell before. The only thing we gave a shit about with the potable water system, and I did the test on that. So the way we would do it, we would do a turbidity test, and what we do is we take silver nitrate, and you drop a few drops of silver nitrate into a test tube with the potable water, and then you look to see how cloudy it is. That tells you the salinity level. Then the ELTs would take a sample and they would do a titration on it. They would check for total dissolved solids. They would check for biological contaminations. They would check for all this other stuff. Now, there was one time where somebody, I don't know how this happened, but they were doing some kind of preventive maintenance, whatever, and they left a lube oil rag in the potable water system. And no. The whole system had to be flushed, but people actually got sick of it because it somehow led to a biological contaminant, and people got sicker than shit. And I was one of the people who got sicker than shit, and I was turning so white that I actually went to medical, and they had to give me an IV.
Oh my gosh.
my fluids because I was just
You
pale.
maybe seem to have a problem with the
How
water
I didn't
because
die, I don't know, but that's the closest probably I came to actually physically dying because I was so white and dehydrated.
Yeah.
And as soon as they looked at me, they're like, "Get in here!" And they stuck a needle in my arm for an IV to rehydrate me. But we found out later that it was because somebody fucked up, left a Lubar rag contaminant, and that contaminated the entire potable water system.
Wow.
So, God's auditor, something you got to remember: aboard
Military.
all Navy ships, we're out in the oceans, we're out in salt water, and we have limited stores for fresh water, so we have to make our own.
Yeah.
And God, does that lead to issues?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
and there was one time I
I
was
was
we
trying to
did-
segue
we-
into my own story.
Like ours broke, and we literally had no water for like 2 weeks as we were limping back into port. And literally, like, you couldn't even do a sea shower. It was that bad. It smelled awful on the ship too because nobody could take a shower. It was just, we had no potable water. It was awful.
So I was pissed because we had during that time we had to fix that system, and me and two other people we worked on that system, and we took apart the evaporator. They got a merit, or they got a what was it, the accommodation medals? What do they call the Navy accommodation, right? Which is
Sure.
doing something that's really great. I didn't get one, and I was like, I worked on it too. Where's my accommodation medal? I didn't even get a letter even.
So I was stationed on a Navy base one time, and somehow you guys managed to swap the hot water and the cold water. And so I was taking a shit, and it's a great feeling having boiling hot fucking water splash you in the balls. Thanks, Navy.
Hey, I've had to take my share of cold showers when the heating didn't.
It's just I'm just sitting here going hot water, cold water. I've done plumbing. It's not that fucking difficult. How did you fuck it up?
Okay.
Hey, shit happens.
We used
explain that one.
our
Let me
flushing
explain
water
that
was
one
from the
to you
brine
real
tank.
quick. No, let me explain that one to you. That was somebody in the CB department, in the construction battalion department,
No.
who was pissed off about
Wait a
you
minute.
guys being there.
No. Hang on. Before we even get to that bit, what base?
Corey Station, Florida.
Yeah,
That was
Filipino
the-
contractors.
No,
Oh,
that
okay.
was, what year? Wait, what year?
2015.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was the Filipino contractors. Yeah, they felt like fucking with you guys.
Well, thanks, guys. That was fucking great. I've never jumped up from a toilet that fast in my life.
Sure.
Well, keep in mind, the people over at Corey Station had an ego problem because they thought that they were smarter because that's where all the cryptology guys went to school. Now, mind
That's why I was.
Now, mind you, those of us who actually worked on better stuff that actually took a little bit more intelligence, we were over at NAS actually doing the avionics stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was mostly a training base, of course. So, obviously they didn't give that much of a shit.
Oh, of
but
course
it was just.
Okay,
Now,
you ready for a real no shitter?
Since you were stationed at Corey Station, were they still playing paintball in the woods?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Is
hell
that
yeah!
is that a
People-
sub toilet?
Yep.
People in their fancy automatic toilets. That's how we had.
No, it's an MWR event. It's an MWR event. The Marines and the Navy gets to play paintball wars. Okay, the problem is that the Marine Corps has such an advantage because by the time that they get to Pensacola and Corey Station, they've been trained in fighting tactics.
Yeah, they've
The
all.
Navy-
Okay. No. Okay, so we had paintball because after we finished AIT there, we had to go do warrior sustainment training, and hey, you've been out of basic training for like 2 months, so you got to go actually shoot a gun again, but we're going to give you paintballs instead. So they have us like assault a little fake village that's over there and stuff, and go up against the sergeants there and stuff like that. However,
they would
there
pit
was-
Navy enlisted against Army, Air Force, and Marine enlisted. And we
Okay.
Why do you have so many collections of toilet pictures? Is this a weird thing? I mean, I'm not trying to judge, man.
Hey,
That's thing, man.
everyone has their thing.
I get it. Speaking of which,
Okay.
guess who just dropped in?
Ring my bell to be a
Mhm.
special subscriber.
Oh, aloha.
Karis,
Hi. Wait, hi, Karis. How are you?
Hi, good. How are you? Can you guys see me?
Oh, we can.
Yeah, we
Sure.
can see. Loving the camera angle. Thank you.
What the? Oh shit!
Now she gets the
okay.
context.
Okay. So, okay. Hang on. Let it be known. I have now caught Team Skeptic. I have now caught Karis. Who's next?
Timestamp. Wow, we just jumped up 300 views. Holy crap.
you will never get the story. Jared, you will never get the story behind why my dad got a face full of my wife's ass before she became my wife's ass.
Well, you know what they say: if you can't keep it in your pants, keep it in the family, right?
Well, I mean, this wasn't even in the family at the time. She wasn't even my wife at the time.
We want to hear about Karis' military story.
Hang on.
Let's have Karis. God love her.
Because Vegan told us her defloweration story in the Coast Guard.
No,
Like legit, her deflowerization. What was it called? Deflowerization?
No,
The taking of her womanhood.
By army.
By army.
It's by army.
Nobody can take my womanhood, okay?
We must leave certain things unsaid. Karis.
What are we doing this again?
Banned from YouTube.
Demonetized.
There goes your channel, Steve.
I know. It was, you know what? Worth it.
So, for those who are wondering, this will be mirrored back on my channel afterwards. Oh,
By the way,
welcome
just so
to
you
the
know,
show,
it's
Mike.
timestamped 86 minutes in, Jared. 86 minutes in. Just
Yeah. Karis,
Just make a note.
Karis, how are you?
I'm shaking it up.
What do you drink?
Yeah.
Wait, is that a rock star or is that
86
alcohol?
white raw.
It's
You're
not
drinking.
alcohol.
Bug.
No.
Karis, how you doing?
Oh, monster. So, we have another question from the chat, from Kino again. If one person got in trouble, did all of you take the heat, and what was the discipline? Again,
They did get in trouble.
well, wait.
My entire division did get in trouble.
I was gonna say again, it depends on at what point in your career. Basic training in A school, one person screws up, everybody pays for it.
Right.
Oh no,
That's normally early on, right? But that changes later. But Karis, what do you do to piss somebody off in your group?
I could not. Okay. Oh God, this night. Oof. Wow.
Oh Jesus.
Jesus, indeed.
So you basically screwed over your entire group, right?
I couldn't stop laughing.
In boot camp?
There's always one.
Yeah.
Don't do. Yeah, that's bad. You
Well,
should
the
know
thing
better.
is, okay, so boot camp was in Great Lakes, and it was really cold. So we had, when I went in, we had the white scarves and everything, and we were marching. We were learning how to march. It was in P days, it's processing days, and I kept tripping and laughing, and then I had just a second. Where's my scarf? Anyway, I had like so I'm like trying not to laugh, but I had my scarf. So I'm like doing this.
Why is there always one in every group? Every
always-
fucking boot camp, there's always that one, right?
That's across services. There's always one who can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
And you're like, shut up, because while they're laughing, right? You're getting
I don't wanna do
cycled.
push-ups for you.
Yeah, exactly. You're getting cycled. That means you're doing push-ups and sit-ups and crunches, and they're basically like you're like as hell because somebody else is screwing up, and so you're basically telling that person, knock it off.
So
Oh no, no.
I also ended up being building staff, And so all the really high ranks, the captains, the commanders, all that lieutenant commanders, they'd all be coming through, and I'd still be laughing. I was that one.
They would call you a
Sorry,
Blue Falcon. You know that, right?
You were ship's company in boot camp, weren't you, Kara?
She was
Yes,
she
I
was
was.
she was that Blue Falcon one that just okay.
And I wear contacts, but I had these really thick glasses, and they'd take the guys
BCs.
would come through, and they're BCGs is what they call it. They take my glasses away from me.
Birth control glasses, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it didn't work for me. Because I kept hiding. I kept hiding my glasses in my pockets.
Now,
I was getting.
Didn't work for you. That's a story worth hearing.
Well, let her tell it.
I can't because
Right.
I could get some officers in trouble.
Oh my God, how long you been out?
Yeah, you're out. Get them in trouble. That's what we do.
No.
I don't know if
Let's
the
hear the story.
UCMJ has. I don't know if the UCMJ has a
Statute of limitations.
limitations.
Well, here's the
You don't have to
thing.
name names.
Hang on.
Second
The-
lieutenant from
Ha-
2003. Yeah.
Hang on.
Well,
The-
also it was nuclear, so I mean there are
the
only so many
names
females.
the names have been changed to protect the participants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, still, there are only so many females in the nuclear program.
There's
I was
certain
one of like
stories
five.
that you guys just don't get.
Yeah, how they let you? How they let you in the nuke program? Because when I was in, women couldn't be nukes.
Surface
I got a
ships.
99 on my.
I know you
on
got a
my
99.
ASVAB, so-
Yeah, I know. She tied with me, but I mean, but still, women were not allowed to be nukes when I was in. Believe it or not.
Wait.
Well-
What year did you go? What year did you go in, Kara? What year did you go
04.
in?
04.
Okay, you weren't part of the rumor mill then that we heard back in '98. Yeah.
The late 90s.
Tail hook. Well,
No,
actually,
no,
there was a cheating. Remember the
No.
remember the cheating
Rumor mill.
exam?
Rumor mill.
And of course, you do that right as Bullionator's name is on the screen as he comes in to join us.
Carissa, you did your full 6 years, right? Chris?
No, I got out on medical, unfortunately, but
Okay,
That's why it's-
how far in did you get?
prototype.
Prototype. Okay.
And then I got out partway through prototype for medical stuff. It sucks. It's
Well, you still remember
it's
shit like
part of-
6-factor formula, though, right?
Huh?
You still remember stuff like the 6-factor formula?
You said remember? No.
Hi, Dave.
Hi.
So I'm sure that this video is going to give me an entirely different reputation.
No.
I don't see
Because
why.
those of us, there are those of us here who will always be gentlemen and think of you as the sexy, seductive voice that you are.
And then there's You Wished.
Yeah, wait a minute. Who are those people? Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
I'm still the same guy prior to my heart attack that remembers hearing Kara's first person.
She almost gave you another heart attack when she popped on camera real quick. At the very inopportune angle.
On movie night when I drank myself to oblivion.
Oh, that was you.
Yes.
That was me.
He's the
Yes,
one.
that was
He is the one we almost killed.
No.
Gareth, are you doing movie nights too? Are
You
on
were
movie
not
nights?
anywhere near me dying. You were not anywhere near that point.
Oh,
trust me.
Oh no! Honestly, I
take
really.
so much dying these days.
Hang on.
Let's not do any more of that, shall
Hang
we?
on. I wish we had a recording of the off-air portion just to play for you. You wished, dude. You were gone. I warned you. I warned you how much we would drink on that show, and you didn't believe me.
Well, it was the
I gotta
fact
get
that.
in on that.
No, wait a second. It was the fact that I listened to Schrodinger's cat after DTW. I was already halfway gone.
Exactly, and I tried to warn you. tried to warn you, but no.
Was
no,
Tornado Pelt
doesn't wanna
present for
listen.
this show?
Yes.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. With much.
He yells drink every 2 seconds, dude.
Tornado Pelt, he's still around.
He does not. He does not partake in alcohol, though.
Yep,
He needs to. He
yeah,
needs
he's
to.
still around. He was in the Chills chat
drinks-
tonight.
Yeah,
He
needs
drinks
to.
root beer. He
He's a
cheats.
He's a little high strung.
Kid means well.
He was
though.
underage,
Yeah,
guy.
no,
Give
Kid
him a
means well.
break.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
he's
no,
that's what I'm saying. He needs a drink.
Dave?
It would kind of mellow him out a little bit.
Dave,
I don't
he's
know that
24.
he's actually underage.
He's
not
24.
underage.
Yeah.
No, he's not underage.
Either way, that didn't
he
stop
didn't tell
me or
me
any
that.
of
He's a
us.
nice kid.
I did not drink a drop until I was 21, except for when I was 3.
Yeah, there it is. Except for when. I am correct.
Now I am
So
not.
what
I-
is this invasion of Steve's channel thing?
Oh, you don't remember when Steve made a promise and I'm keeping him to it? So I've taken over his channel for tonight.
I don't know why I'm here.
You know what? And you
You're
even said
adding to
that
the
you were going to
stories,
be
dude.
leaving early. So
I know, but this is fun. And then
See, I told you,
I love vegan. And then
we
Karen's
have-
joined in. I love her. So fuck you, alley people.
we have
Right?
fun on my shows. We don't
This is
always have a
fun.
topic to start out with, but we have fun.
We do have fun.
And this is the thing. This is the reason why, Steve, you need to join us on Friday nights. You need to be here for all of this.
I will try. Well,
Yeah,
first
shit,
of all,
I
everybody
show
who's
up when I
watching needs to
can.
go sub to your channel. Jared.
Everyone's probably
So-
watching me put my
yeah.
jacket on.
Hang on.
How come there's no link in the
There is a
chat
link in the
right
video
now, so
description.
everybody
Because
can
it's in the video
like,
description.
oh,
What the hell you
Yeah,
want? Me to spoon feed it to you?
It's in
yes,
it's in the description, and
thank you.
there is currently only the channel owner and no moderators in the chat, so he's the only one who can post the link in the live chat.
I just posted it.
Yeah, I don't
where's
have
the
my
link to
mods
the chat?
anymore.
I still
I-
got to give you a hard time about it.
Where's the link to the chat? Give me a link to the chat.
Actually, I'm a mod, so you could always send me a link if you need me to post it.
Dave's special.
Yeah, and you should make me a mod because you haven't seen my ID, so we can make a point.
I've never seen Dave's ID either.
There it is.
You haven't
Nope.
seen my ID.
No, but I've
When
seen
I
other
watch
things. Dun dun dun.
your shows, when I watch your shows, I don't comment very much. Okay? I am simply there to see Red's Rhetoric, you, and somebody not named Kyle Curtis. I will leave the gods. I will leave the God's honest truth at that point. I see you, Red, and somebody named not Kyle Curtis.
Are you trying to show
All
off your
right.
tubes now, Tech?
I just got Carissa printed. I don't know what the hell she's trying to do, but I'm trying to figure it out. It's weird.
I'm adjusting.
Oh yeah, okay. Is that what this called? Okay.
She's getting comfortable.
Boy,
Get comfortable with your monster. What kind of Navy person are you? You're taking monsters on a vet hangout.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Well, that's the thing. I did tell everyone who, well,
I brought wine.
all the veterans in my
I brought
Discord
wine, too.
server
Yeah.
to get their drink of choice. I didn't say that it had to be an alcoholic beverage.
That's true. That's true.
Because-
well, I made my coffee. I overloaded it with brandy. Then I wanted some wine. So now I'm drinking wine.
How do you know
Well,
it's just
I've
monster?
been-
I mean, it's a can. I mean, you don't know what you put in it.
I've been trying to cut down my alcohol because it's bad for you.
Oh, and you're drinking Monster. That's so much better for you.
Yeah.
Right.
4 different
Tech, I'll
sugars.
raise
and
you some
caffeine.
missile tubes there.
Yeah,
There you go.
I'm not going to attack
You
my
win.
liver. I'm going to attack my heart.
Well, I mean, it's
My heart's good. A little enlargement.
Paris,
it's
I think you have a
fine.
secret admirer
There you go.
in the live chat, by the way. Somebody's trying to woo you in the live
yeah.
chat.
So keyboard,
I will. Nobody gave me the link for the live chat.
check your Twitter DMs.
Oh, boy.
Mine are for surgical use, Jay. Yours are like
DMs.
Oh,
sledgehammer.
thank you, Jared.
It's not the size
Jared
of the
is-
missile; it's how you use it.
It's
Now,
the nation
Yeah,
of
but-
the ocean.
Yeah, but Tech,
somebody told
has
me-
my missiles have an entire program that's used to demonstrate how much damage they can
What
do.
missile?
That's available to the public.
Which missile are we referring to?
the
The Ohio
the
class,
the bomba from Russia.
the D5.
That's what you're
The
referring to.
Because
Trident.
you just told me
The big
you're
one.
trying to see how much damage your missile can do.
It's very, it has very high penetrating power.
See, we're talking about
Happy
these
Valentine's
missiles here.
Day.
I had a
Airburst.
really good Valentine's Day.
Okay.
Oh, and here we go with nuke map.
I
Oh,
did it.
God damn it.
Your question should be ground
Nuke
burst
map.
or air burst. Your question should be ground burst or air burst.
Oh, you always got to hang on.
Go with air.
No. If you're gonna do it, you got to go deep, which means you got to go with the ground burst.
Air,
Mine are used for
air,
sort
air
of
has
taking
more.
that-
Hey,
Oh my
Steve, what
God.
was
Yes.
it? Steve, what was it? The longer the rod, the louder the squeal. Is that what they said in prototype?
I don't recall that actually, but I don't know where
sounds
you went to
about right.
prototype. But
How did you forget that, Steve?
I even said
I went to
that
put
in
it. I went to
the
prototype in Goose Creek.
I went to prototype in Windsor Locks.
Well, you
they
should have
said
come to
that
Goose Creek.
Oh.
S1C.
in the first sexual harassment training in the Navy. Come on.
We didn't
the
have
one-
women there. What was there to, unless you were gay? You didn't have to worry about sexual harassment. What did you know?
Sexual.
Unless
And I was
you
in
were
the Clinton days. It was don't ask, don't tell.
Okay, Steve.
Steve, it was
One,
sexual
I was
harassment.
gay.
Steve has
Okay.
clearly never been on my boat. So
Never have been.
I don't get this whole co-ed thing. I don't know how you guys did it. I mean, we didn't have to worry about that
Very
in my day.
carefully and
Sexist.
generally with protection.
That's why I had somebody on a different ship. That was like I didn't have to worry about it. They weren't part of my command, right?
Although when I went through boot camp, the girls all got the Rogam shot, whether they wanted it or not.
The what?
The what shot?
The Rogam. It
What the hell's that?
Rogaine?
Rogaines for
No.
hair.
No.
Rogaines for hair loss.
R
I
O.
don't have that problem.
Not hair. Not the hair loss shit. Rogam.
I don't know what the hell that is. The only
And-
shot that I had to get was
and-
Gamma
that
Goblin
doesn't
because
sound
we went over
familiar.
to
It was an early
Booty,
form-
and I think we had to get a Gamma Goblin shot for malaria.
It was
Everybody had to get
it
it.
was an early version of the shot for birth control
Oh, interesting.
For women, for men, or for
Yes.
both?
Oh,
for women.
No.
We got
Oh.
Depot.
Yeah, we got
Depakote.
Depot.
interesting. I
Yeah,
never
most
heard
of the time I
about
thought it was
that.
Depakote for women.
Yeah, we
No,
took
Depot.
Depo Vera.
Vera,
and,
yeah, whatever it
And
was,
they
yeah.
also had like things like the Marina and stuff like that, the IUDs that you could take.
I'm not tired of
Are,
that
are you
stuff.
targeting the Hague again?
What the
Yeah,
fuck?
some of us actually didn't work in the military. We didn't have time for any of that shit.
What, getting laid?
Not on board
We
ship.
always
I never
have
did-
time to get
I can
laid.
safely say I never got laid on board ship ever.
Well,
No,
I've never
you
been on a
haven't.
Now
ship,
on-
but I never
now
had a
on the
problem
pier.
getting laid because I was married the whole time.
I got a couple of friends of mine that got AIDS from one particular sailor.
I'm
Yep.
not, I am not sure if I would really be saying that with such a bragging tone.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I got a couple of friends. Not me, definitely not me.
I'm not going to say her first name, but I will say her last name because
That's
Because
even
that's
worse.
so much
Right.
better.
That's even worse.
Yeah, no names.
it's a common name.
No
It's-
names.
Okay, well,
Don't dox a
needless to
bitch.
say-
Make a
Needless-
rhyme.
Needless to say, Deadman infected 14 sailors before she was finally kicked off the ship. With
Aye. Yeah, isn't that a fucking crime?
you could literally
Only if she
literally
did it
find
while
this
knowing.
girl. No, you could literally find this girl by following her smell.
I still feel like even if you did it while you were
There's
not
another
knowing,
suggestion when
that's
you're in the
still like
military.
manslaughter.
In the military, hygiene is critical.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
want to be that one person who is not hygienic.
Oh.
It just doesn't work well in small quarters. I assure.
And Steve.
Wash your ass was a mantra.
And Steve, how many of them ended up in engineering to boot?
You know what? It wasn't. No, in my
Intel
engineering was
dude.
not that bad. It was the there was a nuke engineering and there's a non-nuke. The non-nuke, like the whole
God, yeah.
That was holy shit. You walk into that bulk, you go past that watertight door, and this waft of just
rank.
You know the smell I'm talking about, right?
Oh,
you know somebody has not showered in a very long time when you open that thing. But in my quarters, no, it was not like that at all. We made sure of that. We didn't have a problem with that at all, actually.
Yeah.
Intel's very similar, and you're in skiffs where the air is recycled. So yeah, there was we actually had a farting policy. You went outside to fart.
Oh,
you went topside.
Okay. No. So, the shop I was in on the Kitty Hawk, our chief had his desk in our shop instead of being in another space with other people who were better. Because I'm not going to deny it, our shop was called the Island of Misfit Toys. Because for a while, if they didn't know where to put you in our division in AIMD, they sent you up to Shop 7. That's where I was. So, the way the shop was physically set up, our chief decided to put his desk right in front of the air intake for the AC system in the shop. We had this one guy who decided to crop dust the front of the shop.
Oh.
The only person who actually got it, we just hear all of a sudden, oh God, I can taste it! And Chief ran right out the door.
See, I worked in a comms van that was it was fucking tiny, and we had like a max of about 6 people in a crew. I think the most people we ever had in the van at one time was like 17 when we were doing a presentation. And there was a funny little thing that would happen every so often. Our commander, he would just say, he would talk to the sergeant and be like, "Sergeant, turn on the AC." And it was because somebody fucking decided to pollute that like 300 cubic feet of air with whatever the fuck they were eating last night. And yeah, it was just as soon as it hit our commander's nose, it would be like, "Sergeant, turn on the AC."
I had to jump back in. I had to jump back in because right now I'm working in a special position where we provide security and transportation for senior Department of Defense officials. And I know people that had gotten jobs to be the driver of the vehicle for the Secretary of Defense and then were fired because they farted right before he got in there.
That is called a legend.
No, I have one even better, and Jared will attest to this. Jared, is there not one individual that will suddenly have a pass of gas right before the chief, the senior chief, or the master chief of the barracks perform an inspection?
Oh, there's always one in the group if you have enough people. Always.
I was that one individual.
Why does that not surprise me?
I blew the loudest flatulence right in front of the master chief of the barracks.
Oh no! Oh, okay.
You were the designated
hang
guy.
Wait. No, this made 2 other shipmates, including my bunkmate, pass out.
Oh no! You think you have balls? You think you have balls doing that?
Wait until you hear his reply. His reply was, "Nice one," and he walked the fuck on.
Oh no. Oh, you think
Yes.
you think you have balls ripping one then? Guy I went through basic training with. We ended up calling him Solo Jerk. And dude was a special character. We'll just put it that way. The reason why I say that is because everyone knows how thorough some MEP stations are when you're going through your entrance physical.
Yep.
The whole bend over and grab
spread
your
'em.
and spread them check. Yeah, he let one rip right there as the doctor leaned in.
Legend.
Now,
I got one a little bit better.
I will
we-
say that we
We
didn't
cleared a
have
1-star out of our van.
Oh.
We had a 1-star coming in for a demonstration, and he was stepping on our tempo like we actually had shit to do, and my captain was trying to get him out of there,
Mm.
and he just tapped one of the buddies on the shoulder, and Buddy actually understood what was being communicated, and it took about 45 seconds before the 1-star was like, okay, well, I guess I gotta go.
Nice.
No, the best one was that we had a cousin of the EXO of the base. We had a cousin of the EXO of the base. Our EXO was Cap Tellis in boot camp. And she was doing a barracks inspection, and we had one of those. This wasn't me this time. This was actually her second cousin.
Oh, I had a dildo in one of my drawers during one of those.
In my division. Oh no! Oh no!
I'm
Wait,
sorry,
you
you
have
got
those
stepped
on
on,
now?
you wish.
Oh, wait.
Is that part of your
So-
sea bag or something?
So hang on. Since you brought it up, Karis,
Navy issue dildo.
one of the guys.
It was blue.
Hang on. So,
Should you get
oh,
one of those
With
now in
uniform.
boot camp?
so one of the guys.
Times have changed.
So one of the guys who worked for me.
It's a health issue.
Yeah.
He just
So,
opened the drawer, looked at it, and was like,
But
okay. So
No.
hang on. One of
I
the
was there
guys.
in the time of flashlights. All right.
So one of the guys who actually worked for me on the Kitty Hawk, his first name was Lynn, Lynn. When he checked in aboard, guess what berthing they put him in?
Oh no.
They put him in the female berthing,
Of course.
and he got there late at night. And they were like, you know what? Just go in. Here's the rack number. Go get settled. You'll get taken care of the rest of the way in the morning. He was walking. He's walking in, trying to find the place, and he hears an odd buzzing sound that then gets quieter, then louder, then quieter, then louder, and the
I
pace
don't like that
starts
setting.
picking up.
Oh,
This-
I feel like we're at the right time where I can share the story of Private Olive Oil.
Oh, jeez.
So I don't know how they do it in the Navy, but when you get into basic training, they make you take your personal bag and dump out everything on the floor so the drill sergeants can go through it and make sure you're not like
Don't
trying to
have
smuggle in any
contraband.
contraband.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So we, there's like 150 of us in this room, and then we dump everything out. Drill sergeants go through it, etc. This one guy gets in there late somehow. I still don't know how he got in there late, but he has to do it by himself. So he dumps all of his shit out on the floor. And what falls out is half a bottle of olive oil and a strip of Magnum condoms. Drill sergeant is like going through his shit, gets to the olive oil and starts yelling at him, going, "What the fuck, Private? You think you were going to be doing some fucking cooking in the barracks?"
And then he finds
And
the
then-
next bit.
And then Drill Sergeant notices the condoms, looks back at the olive oil, puts 2 and 2 together, and the fucking mask of Drill Sergeant dropped, and he couldn't stop fucking laughing. And he had to fucking duck out of the room, and 2 more drill sergeants come in to start yelling at us to keep up the appearance. And we can still hear him out in the hall
I gotta
laughing
ask,
his
though,
ass off.
What goes through someone's mind to take that kind of stuff to boot camp?
I don't know.
You would
I don't know. But that guy
Well, you
was forever
see-
known as Private Olive
Yeah, I don't know
Oil
how.
after that.
Karis, I don't know how any of this shit works. You got to remember, this was all after my time. Okay.
Steve, the way it works is you insert 2 batteries usually.
Wait, your
Is
student
it-
have
wait,
the
wait,
three?
is that how you learn the
Pour
word
olive
olive
oil
two
into
batteries?
the condom.
Wait a second. My wife's vibrator operates off of 1AA. The fuck?
How
Okay, if
cute!
it's- if it
hang
doesn't
on,
require
hang,
these three
plugged
beans-
hang on,
Yeah.
hang on. It
My wife's
runs on
both stars.
one AAA. Aw, she didn't want
Fuck
to
that
threaten
shit.
your
Karis has-
masculinity.
Dude, Karis has like car batteries.
Big ass B cells.
Like,
Hers are like 3 speeds, low, high, and never need a man again.
Daddy,
Those are fight words.
Hers is a pull start.
Besides,
When you see the
Sorry,
lights
I had to
down in the
add
house, right? You see, your computer goes. "Arr."
Hang on.
The lights dim.
Hang on. There are 2 words. There are only 2 words that I need to say. Remote control.
USB.
Those are fun.
No, Jerry. No.
Smartphone app.
the answer for the question is, what is a good way to piss me off?
Put it on high too soon.
Stop pushing the button.
Wait,
Jerry,
hang on. The question
Jerry,
is, what does the
Jerry-
remote control?
A cell phone.
Smartphone app. Yeah.
Yes.
Wi-Fi.
Linux.
Maybe I should
I-
have that picture
well,
come on Jared again.
There are apps for it. I mean, you
Yeah.
can-
Yeah.
Wow.
Hang on. Here's the thing, though. The apps require Wi-Fi. You can't really do that in the middle of a restaurant now, can ya?
Watch me.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
No, and see,
Some of them only require
and
data
see that,
connection.
and see,
And a lot of them are Bluetooth too.
and see here's the thing. Here's the thing. The remote is about the size of the key fob on the keys.
Yeah,
Nice.
Talk.
they're not very big.
There it is.
well, they don't have to be very big.
The fact that the females on this panel know that fact reminds me of a 1983, 82. Steve, help me out here. What year did Jay Giles' band put out Centerfold?
Jay Giles in what 1980? Oh God,
Wait,
early
Jay
80s.
Giles band?
Yeah,
Early
Mike,
80s.
is it Centerfold? What are we
it
talking?
had to be around circa. Yeah, it had to be out circa 1980, 81.
So
No.
I wasn't born yet.
I wasn't born.
Yeah, I wasn't here.
Nope.
You guys were not even glean in your mother's eye. Okay.
Right.
No.
Jay Giles was 83 to 85. That was when Jay Giles' band hit their popularity.
So-
was
somewhere in that
83.
ballpark, yeah.
And it was Centerfold that put them on the top of the map. I remember because I was dating a girl named Candy Byers.
Yeah,
She's listening.
Doxing.
She's listening right now. God bless her.
I
God
actually
love
had
it.
some tapes when I was in boot camp. I had Hall of the Mountain King.
Tapes.
Yeah, tapes.
Tape.
Hall of the Mountain King by Savatage, which was really
Oh,
good.
no,
I had a
no, no,
Testament tape.
no,
I had a mixtape that had Motley Crue, and eventually I had Ride the Lightning, but I think it was like right after boot camp. Yes,
Tapes.
Steve,
tapes. Do you know?
have you
Yes.
rechecked?
We know what tapes are. We just never used
They're
them.
called cassettes back in the day.
Oh, wait, so it
For the
wasn't
orange.
an 8-track?
Yeah,
I had 8 tracks too.
No.
Why does that not surprise me?
We had DVDs, Chris, too. And by the way, you didn't have to rewind them, contrary to popular.
What's
belief.
rewinding, Steve?
You take a pencil and you stick it in the hole of the cassette and you just spin it.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's got it.
I know.
Exactly. There you go, vegan. She
We were
knows how to
there
stick
for
it in the
that.
hole.
That was just forever ago.
Half of you guys don't know what a cassette tape and a pistol
They don't.
mean.
They don't.
We
What the hell
know
are you
what it
talking about?
is.
Oh,
Oh
I'm
my
talking
God.
shit, dude.
Earbud wearers. Oh God, we apologize.
No, okay, dude, I'm going to college right now with a bunch of fuckers that were not conscious during 9/11, and that makes me feel so fucking old.
you know
Okay.
that would
Exclamation mark.
okay. But
I
for the
don't know what
fact
my
that
response
I
should
am
be.
doing the same thing currently for a trade school. Okay, and that 99% of my class doesn't know what 9/11 was.
Ow.
Oh. They weren't fucking awake for it. They were like,
no,
I don't
barely
believe
even
you.
conscious.
no.
Yeah,
No.
I don't quite.
I don't
buy that
believe
either.
you.
If you want a story time,
Liar.
No, they think it's like a fucking meme. Seriously, I'm not even fucking kidding.
Yeah, the younger
They
keep
don't actually.
keep in mind a lot of the younger generation right now, when that event happened, if they were born, they were like 3 years and younger.
At best,
but I
like they
mean,
were
we
sucking on a tit. That's about it.
like, but I mean,
Yeah.
we weren't really around for Pearl Harbor, but we don't think it's a meme.
no.
We're also
Yeah, 'cause
not.
the internet wasn't around for Pearl Harbor.
Mentality right now
hang
is
on,
that
hang on,
everything's a hoax.
Karis. We are
True.
also not idiotic jackasses.
Try me.
Well, vegan was
Yeah.
in boot camp during
I
9/11.
was in boot camp.
Yeah.
That shit was crazy. Like I had no idea at all. I would
Okay,
completely.
wait a second, and let me clear the fog here. Jared, who did I go to high school with?
Your left hand.
Right.
Got him.
Tried
The
to fucking
Goonies?
him because I've told you multiple times.
I went to school with John Stamos.
Who did I
Well, he
go
went to my school. His sister was a senior when I was a freshman
Really?
in Full House. Yeah, John Stamos. Yeah,
Cool.
true story.
Jared tried
La Palma,
to
California.
again, and
Nice.
without the meme, who did I go to school with?
You got to remember, you got to remember, I'm 4 drinks in right now, and I've already put in a 50-hour week, and I have another 12-hour day ahead of me tomorrow.
I went to high school in Texas. Does that ring any bells to your?
Texas is a huge
alcohol
fucking state.
level?
So what I'm getting is
Some famous Texan.
Okay, wait a second.
Chuck Norris. I don't know.
Rocker Ranger.
Panel. I went to
Matt
high school.
Dillon.
Bill.
He did a roundhouse kick and got your mom pregnant.
Oh,
That would take more than a fucking miracle
now,
considering
right?
my mom's been dead since 1985. I went to high school with Chris
it's
Kyle.
Chuck Norris. It would be a miracle.
Oh, no, it's just Chuck Norris. Anything's possible.
Right?
Exactly.
You know, Chris met Chuck Norris when they were filming Walker, Texas Ranger in Ellis County, Texas. I went to high school in Midlothian, Texas, where Chris went to high school at. There is a picture, if you look on Chris Kyle's Facebook page, of him shaking Chuck Norris's hand.
Nice.
I grew up with the American. I grew up with the American Sniper. You want to know what hell is? Read the book.
Everyone makes their own personal hell, though.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called YouTube.
Was I not using my actual mic this whole time?
No, you were.
We can hear you fine, or at least I can.
Yeah.
You're good. You're
You have a
good.
beautiful voice.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Which actually, Keyboard Warrior has asked, Karis, have you thought about a career as an ASMR artist?
Every day.
That would be a fun answer to the question. So, what do you do?
Make noises.
Right.
I eat apples into a microphone slowly.
Right. I cut up little things of soap.
Trust me,
I read
Chris,
Edgar
when you're
Allan
born-
Poe.
You know,
Wait,
funny
she
you
did do that,
Hey,
actually.
hang on.
Wait,
Funny you
Karis actually
mentioned
did
that.
read Poe one time, didn't
Let's
she?
do it.
Wait.
Which-
Didn't you actually read a Poe?
Yeah, for
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
for a charity.
No,
Shit,
she's a,
called it.
she's a narrator
Yeah.
for Bob Ross paintings.
Here's some
Please.
Shakespeare. Yeah. Romeo, wherefore art
I
thou?
literally
Wherefore art
have
thou,
a-
Romeo?
I
Deny
literally
thy father and
Yes,
refuse thy
excuse
name.
thy name, and I shall not go on your Capulet.
There's some
She
downfall
educated.
chart. There's a no exit, and inside my actual bookmark is a Playboy thing.
There you go.
Wait a minute. No exit. You mean that's not just a tattoo that some people get on their ass?
Oh, not that.
I knew
Wow.
a girl with that tattoo.
Yikes.
No exit on your
That's
ass.
good.
Wouldn't that be like?
Good
Is that
play.
you're like constipated all the time? Or you're
Hey,
no
you know what? Hang on.
Entrance
I
is
figured
hang-
I want like two or
Hang
three.
on,
you
hang
know?
on, Karis. We all know someone who is rather full of it.
Well, I mean, there are many to choose
Anybody.
from. I don't know which one
Exactly.
you're specifying.
You're gonna have
That's
to
the point.
narrate some of
Ex-
it.
Exactly.
Here's my point. Here's my
Yeah,
point.
there's
Plausible
not- really not
deniability.
in script.
If you think I was talking about you, no, of course not.
Wait a second. I've read that anal sex is a perfect cure for a woman's constipation.
You
Or
were supposed to
guys.
take care of the
Yeah, a man
constipation
told him that.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for
You
birth
know,
control.
and here's the thing, vegan. I'm not willing to take another guy's dick up my ass.
Hey.
Well, your loss.
An E6 once told me that giving blowjobs is the best neck exercise you'll ever get. I haven't been able to try it yet,
And
but
jaw.
so I hear.
Right, jaw. Yeah. And your mouth.
Yeah, you just
You
have
know-
to. You just
Well,
have to
when
be.
you're coming up in the ranks and you know.
The problem is
Well,
when
hey.
you have like a monster gag reflex. A monster gag reflex. Um,
Wow, if you can fit a monster all the way back there, goddamn woman.
Jared, I'm gonna have to check out. Jared,
Oh, you mean you didn't an hour ago?
no, I'm down to one pill. I'm down to one nitro, so I can't maintain this.
He can't take this. I don't blame him.
Okay.
Just overt sexualization of
Take what?
Oh, there it is.
When Karis joined and I got an instantaneous blue vein hard on,
So your toes got hard?
Hey man, it's only been an hour. You've got 3 to go
want you to
before it's a
die, man.
problem.
We don't want Karis to kill anybody. That would be bad.
blood supply went to the second head, and the second head started thinking, Karis, love you greatly. I hope you are having a better time dealing with your morning than I am. Okay?
Just say yes.
Yes.
This is why we don't let Karis on camera much. You see what happens? People die.
Shut the fuck up.
We don't want people to die. Karis, you should know better than this. We've warned you of this before.
Hey, you
Don't
know,
listen to us.
There can only be one sweet heathen.
Yes, and she. By the way, I'm talking to her right now, telling her you're on camera, but she's with friends right now.
Well,
You
I am
send her
rubbing. I am
our
rubbing
love.
it. Wait. I am rubbing it in, sweet heathen, and not the way that you think. But I am letting her know that you are on camera right now. She's missing out.
Sounds
so.
fun too.
Yeah.
Will you let me
See how
stay
nice I am?
for- are you gonna
But am I
join
not
me?
nice? I'm letting her know that Vegan and Karis are both here.
You
So-
still can't pronounce my name.
I never will. You know this. How many years?
Putting the wrong
You're
putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
because I need to take my last
I
pill.
saw that movie.
All you want.
Yeah, you guys don't want me to be dead tomorrow. Karis,
This is correct.
my love, my thoughts, my prayers to you.
Well, thank
You
you.
notice though, I say Karis too, and she keeps telling me for years now, you don't pronounce it right. I say the same goddamn thing everybody else says.
Okay, educate me. What's the proper?
things over the years too, by the way. So
What's the proper method? I don't want to fuck it up.
Karis,
How long have you known me now, Steve? Like
don't
4
know.
years, something like that?
some ridiculous fun.
God damn.
Well, I
has
just
it
met
been
you
that
tonight.
long?
How do I pronounce it?
Well, there are like 4 pronunciations of it. It's original Greek. I pronounce
Karis?
it Karis. Karis.
Karis? Yeah.
Karis is another. Charis, Charis are a couple
Big Steve.
more. What?
And there is the French pronunciation of your name, which is
Caris.
Caris.
It's Caris.
Yeah, but people may not know though is that you and I have known each other for a long time, but we didn't like each other. Well, you didn't like
That
me.
makes it even it makes it even better because I have a tendency to fall for adversaries.
Yeah, now she has a crush on me. And she has to get over it, but it's okay. I don't mind.
It's why I like Jared.
Well, we all like Jared.
Yeah, but I can be an ass.
Oh,
I've always been nice to you, though. She was mean to me, but I was always nice to her.
I
Always.
never actually directly spoke to you. I spoke to you by proxy.
Okay. I Steve, I hated you so much. I didn't even want to talk to you. Okay.
Wait. You
No,
only talk.
I was afraid of you.
You only talked to
Number one
Steve by proxy. Was it the HUD sucker?
I'm not giving any names or insinuations of
I
who
got
it
it,
was.
Jared. I got it.
There will,
Oh,
I got
there
that
will
joke.
there will be no insults or negativity from me towards anyone else on here.
Jared, I got your joke. I got it.
I caught the joke too.
Now it's come out that you adore me, and but now it's come out that you adore me, and I'm well loved by all, right? So.
you're not loved by any fucking body. Who do you think you
Well, I
are?
thought that Steve
Okay, how about
was a
tolerate-
demigod
Not
now.
by
Wasn't it?
anybody.
That's the newest thing. He's now
He's
he's a
crushing me here. You
deity.
see this? He's crushing my soul.
Jared, look at keyboard warrior in the chat.
Oh, I know. I'm responding.
Steve,
Go ahead.
I can crush you.
crushing.
I have
crushing
the ability to crush you. Okay? I love
crushing
you,
your
That's the
soul.
worst job in the world.
but I'm not going to kneel to you. I'm not going to kiss your feet like you wanted to earlier.
I'm not going to taste your feet.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
no. He was demanding that
not
anybody in
with
the live chat earlier tonight kiss, not taste, kiss his feet.
who wants
Would
that?
Would you not slightly taste his feet if you were kissing?
No.
I mean,
No,
if you're,
I guess you're
Whatever
getting
is your
really
kink.
enthusiastic about
I was gonna
No.
say
Whatever
it
is your
all
kink.
it
You do you, boo.
all
Yeah, you do
depends.
you. I don't. Yeah, I don't. I'm not judging.
It all depends on how much tongue you use.
Guys,
I have a huge foot fetish, but
You're
like
weird.
I am. I'm
Good
okay
for
with that. I have
You're a
cute
freak.
toes.
I have a
I'm
shoulder
not
fetish.
interested.
I look at
There's no
somebody's
beat.
shoulders.
Kawasa 5,000. He said, "Wait, we've got a super chat. Hang on.
I can cure you of that. I trust
Yeah.
that I can
Hang on.
cure you of your foot fetish.
Okay.
Koyasa
Kawasa in the super
says,
chat. Does mandatory national conscription count as veteran? Then we've got 20 million veterans in South Korea. Conscription, I wouldn't count. Well, if you're conscribed and you're actually served, then you're military. But you have to actually serve to have conscription be part of the military, right? We don't have conscription here, though.
Well, so
Like
like Koyasa and also like our friend Bull Hobo.
Just kidding.
He is.
what about warrant officers?
They don't count anyways.
Warrant officers don't count for literally anything
They don't know
at
what the hell
all.
they are. They're not quite officers, but they're more than enlisted.
Where are
They're
they
invisible.
anyways?
They're the
They never
high
show
priest
up
of the
anyways.
standing
What
order.
difference does it
But
make?
so as I said,
They're in military purgatory.
as I said in the
man's
chat,
land.
and as our friend Bull Hobo is a conscript.
I'm determined to interrupt Jared.
It's all that monster you're having.
And there we go.
You're welcome.
I've been drinking this for hours and I don't feel
So-
a thing.
Wow. Maybe you need to get a dragon then.
Jared, you know what? These are fun.
I told you.
Yeah.
So, as I said in the chat, when it comes to the conscript question on veterans status, I look at it this way. if you received the training and were part of a unit that was ready and prepared to deploy, or did deploy, then yes.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
I never deployed.
we have the rare warrant officer just joined us again.
It's like
yes, he's
Beetlejuice.
back.
You say my name 3 times and I'm fucking here.
Well, were you
He's here to prove that
were you
warrant officers do show up.
They
More
do
so-
exist.
Warrant officers
They
arrive
provide.
precisely when they mean to.
Right.
They are the
And
wizards
not
of the
second prior than needed.
Really
Warrant
good at
officers. Warrant
supervising.
officers are specialists who have achieved godhood. They sham
Yeah,
like no one can.
Pretty much.
Yeah. No, I'm related to a couple of warrant officers. I know what you guys are up to.
Yeah, it's a secret technique that you got to learn to, know what you're doing, but not actually do what you're doing and show up when
You guys know what
somebody
you're
else
doing.
forgets what they're doing.
That's why you have the enlisted people, right?
The enlisted people are there to take the fall for the warrant officers so they can continue to sham.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
The enlisted people work for a living.
Do you know who actually trains the officers? Oh wait, it's the enlisted motherfucking people.
Yep.
See, what the enlisted people they're not educated on is the simple facts of life, such as you leave your cover on your desk.
That
Yeah.
way they
People
always think you're around.
Steve,
Absolutely.
you know what?
You have 4 different covers, so that way you can leave
around
on a bunch of different desks.
Hey, Steve, you know what really sucks?
You?
Just as my, yeah, but like, just,
Depends on if it's Saturday or not.
as I was
Sorry, go ahead.
as I was getting out on medical, I had just been accepted into State 21.
Oh.
Wait, you just got accepted as what?
No,
Seaman
Just tier
Admiral
21.
21.
Yeah,
commissioning program.
Yeah.
I was
That's
going to be an
like-
officer.
Yeah, that's a real officer. That's like pretending
Hey,
like you know what
yeah.
you're doing about everything.
Yeah, it's true, isn't it?
No, I'm gonna say congratulations. You saved your soul.
But the secret is you basically carry around a clipboard and you walk fast. If you do that,
How do you?
warrant
wait,
officers don't do that. They
no.
just disappear.
No, Steve. That is the E5 way of not being assigned any extra duties when you're having a pier side repair period going on.
Yeah, that's basic shit.
Yeah.
My entire division was 7 people. There was absolutely no way to avoid extra duties.
Right.
Well, that's also what you get for
Our
being.
boat was so small. Everybody had all hands on deck. Literally meant all hands on deck.
Well, my detachment only had 20 people in it. I had to get creative to avoid duty.
Oh goddamn! My shop had 20 people in it.
7 was
Yeah,
including
well-
the chief.
So hang on. Let me put it this way. So Techatron. So Eric's entire command, his entire ship, well, boat,
113.
113 people. Want to know how many people
142.
were just in my division of my department?
How many?
380.
Damn, that's more than
Also,
what
if you
was on my
combine
ship.
Tech's
No.
crew with my crew,
We had
then
maybe
you wouldn't have
200.
this issue.
I am the king shammer here, I just have to say, because for the last year that I was in, I didn't even wear a uniform. I was that fucking good.
Whoa. I've gone years without wearing a uniform. Just saying.
Actually,
Yeah.
is
Oh,
it?
okay, no.
Hang on.
You're
Hang
a
on.
warrant
No,
officer.
I
God
was a
knows.
specialist.
hang
I
on.
was a specialist, and for the last year I was in, I didn't wear a uniform.
So, Furball, isn't the last time you wore your uniform when you got promoted? Well, before the transfer.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
yeah, but you were a warrant officer, right?
Oh, there's more specialty than that.
Yeah. I was an E4 and I wasn't wearing a uniform for the last year I was in. I managed to fly, not just fly under the radar, but get on the good side of the company commander, or no, excuse me, the battalion commander.
See, I get
What
all
was your
hot when I
MOS?
go to Sweet.
35 Sierra.
Intel of some branch. Yeah.
Yeah, SIGINT. I was working at Army Space Command, and I was an instructor at the Battle Lab because I was awesome at my job. And so my commander told me, "Hey, people aren't going to take you seriously if you wear that sham shield around. So just show up wearing what the contractors wear.
Nice.
And I managed to ride that one out for a year.
Nice.
So tomorrow I've got to get in a plane to a desert, and I'm bringing a suit with me. So, god damn
That
that
sounds
fucking
like so much
and,
fun.
and body armor,
Hey,
a suit
hey,
and
I
body
know.
armor.
Wait,
I
wait,
love that shit,
wait,
right?
Furball.
Feels the best.
Hang on, Furball. Your gun will finally match where you're going.
Oh Jesus Christ! If the army hadn't fucked that up.
Oh, Furball.
Well, it should have been new one before you
Damn,
go.
Karis.
He's gonna go where it's 125 degrees in February.
Karis, it's Friday. It's not Saturday yet. Okay, it's Friday.
She's tilting the camera again.
Yeah. And demonetized.
So
May or may not have.
We were
Karis
demonetized
Payton.
an hour
May
ago.
or may not.
Trying to get my channel off YouTube, aren't you?
I was demonetized the
We need
moment
to
I
find
came
out
on.
what poor unfortunate cases took him from Washington
And we're going off air right now.
to the Persian Gulf. What unfortunate case is taking you from Washington to the Persian Gulf?
You see that?
Pay attention to the news, and you'll find out.
Yeah.
Right, I was gonna say you don't really want to say anything.
I should talk to a couple of my buddies and see what you're up to.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a question.
We might have an answer.
Answer.
Okay.
There's some
What
kind
rate-
of answer.
Well, I some people have already mentioned theirs, but not everybody. So what rate were you guys?
MM. Though all the MMs told me I needed to be an ET. Because I'm such a nerd.
I was an ABE with the secondary in EO, which is Aviation Bosun's Made Equipment, with the secondary in Equipment Operator, which meant I could do
You were a blue shirt.
both. I was a green shirt on the flight deck, and I was Equipment Operator on shore.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, BM, what were you? Or what are you?
Were or are? That's two questions.
Well, okay,
Both.
what are you currently and what were you?
When I joined in '98, I was a 13 Bravo, field artillery.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And then you're gonna hate me now. Crossed over to be a 31 Delta, a CID agent, and
Oh,
now
I
I'm a
don't hate
warrant
you.
officer in the same field.
Oh,
So-
you get to do some fun shit.
For all the Navy folk in the crowd, NCIS equivalent.
I was
You do.
Except we don't have a fucking TV show. Sorry, like five fucking TV shows.
So
I flagged
Furball has
bullshit.
like
I flag bullshit because NCIS agents are all civilian contractors.
Yeah, NCIS.
Furball has like
Oh,
a
no.
general-
If they're working in conjunction with the military, then they need one guy that's in a uniform that actually works with
Jag.
Yeah,
No,
sure,
no,
yeah,
no.
yeah,
So
yeah,
the-
there's-
the,
but yeah,
the way it works with the NCIS is that they're 90% civilian and they've got a handful of Marines because the philosophy was that the only people that go into a combat zone are the Marines, so we need to send the Marines with them. The NCIS agents are able to go on ship.
All right, so let me ask you, as a, I guess it would be a CID. What is the most common thing you have to investigate?
Do you really want to know?
Currently, nothing, because thank God
well,
I've
ask
gotten out
Logan.
of investigations and I'm just in protection. But for the past 8 years, sexual assault.
Sexual. You know, I knew he was. Why
Yeah,
did I know he was going to say
That's
that?
like I said, ask vegan.
Yep.
Army guys
So,
getting
do
with
I
Coast
have
Guard.
Stories. All right. So that's not everybody though. And Steve, I know Steve was Navy. He did the nuclear.
Yeah, I already said it was MM1SW.
Yeah.
Karis and I kind of had the same path, but she was out doing prototype.
Yeah. What is prototype? Is that like C school?
B.
Prototype is where actually you have the hands-on working with the reactor. So you go through A school, then you go through the power school, then you go through the dark side of power school, get to learn all the secret stuff, and then you actually go to a working reactor. You have to learn all about that working reactor, then you have to be able to explain that working reactor to somebody else, and then you go to the ship and you forget everything you learned about prototype because none of that actually matters any longer because you're on a completely different ship. Because one of them was S1C, which was submarine first generation combustion engineering, but in my boat was that D2G, which was destroyer second generation General Electric, completely fucking
And
different.
of course, aircraft carriers, because that's the only kind of ship we were
A5W,
allowed to get.
A6W. So it's 6 years of your life that
Well,
you do.
I mean,
you learn
technically,
shit, basically.
we couldn't be on a sub at that time.
Yeah.
You were lucky you were in the nuke program.
It was
Remember?
2004. I was.
Yeah, I'm telling you, women were not allowed the nuke program for there was medical reasons mostly, but
Yeah, when I was going through boot camp at that time.
I'm now
they
aging
did
myself.
not-
Like everybody's doing the math.
Right. Well, no, I mean, like even when I was in boot camp, they didn't allow women in submarines and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, we weren't allowed on submarines, but we could go on carriers.
Yeah, but the reason being is mostly because of radiological considerations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, women were
It's
They opened.
on
Yeah, they opened the
carriers
nuke.
in 1996.
Not sexism.
They opened nuke. They
My
opened nuke to carriers in the late '90s, and then they just started with submarines.
Yeah.
Carriers were 1996. You can go back and look it up on YouTube. Dave Letterman coined the joke about the Eisenhower. Oh, guess the whole number.
3.
69.
Mm.
The joke was, if the boats are rocking, don't come a knocking.
Classic.
That was my boat. That was my boat. That's my claim to shame. Because of the 300 women we took on board in 1996.
That must have been a
We only
really
returned
nice
to
day.
port. We only returned to port with 7 of the original 300.
A lot of us got pregnant. I wasn't one of
Yeah,
them,
it's-
but a lot of us got pregnant.
I didn't want to be the one to say it.
They
How many
all
got-
got pregnant to get out of sea duty.
They
all got pregnant to get out of sea duty.
I made one cry at Whidbey Island because she is fresh from A school at Whidbey Island, a shore station, as P3 Optet, which means you don't go aboard ship. You are assigned to pair up with a P3, a maritime patrol squadron, and when they leave and go to another base to do some fun stuff, you go with them. So you go from one shore station to another shore station and get paid per diem on top of it while you're there. This chick decided this chick decided, I don't want to deploy to Misawa, Japan. I want to stay here. Let me get knocked up.
Oh my god.
And I
What an idiot.
called her fucking stupid to her face for doing that.
Are you kidding me? The fucking per diem is fucking worth it. Oh my
Right.
god.
$125 a day for E4 and below.
That's insanity.
Holy shit, man.
I'm about to spend a week and a half.
for that.
Yeah, I'm about to spend a week and a half getting $3.50 a day per diem.
Yeah, hey vegan, you
Yeah,
want
dude, I was shitting myself when I went from fucking when I cross trained
I
from
can't hear.
DLI to fucking 35 Sierra because I was getting $15 a day for fucking food. Are you kidding me? 125 a day?
I'll go back in. I'll rejoin. Vegan could knock me up, and then I'll split the per diem with.
There you go.
Steve,
She'll take all the money, and I'm still.
Steve, you gotta
Oh,
answer this now, though.
Stay here and I'm not correct.
Stories, I'm just saying.
Oh,
Like
Steve, which
I-
orifice are you going to use to birth the
I already
child?
messaged her.
I
She's-
am.
He's gonna hold it in his mouth.
I like
vegan has
Furball's question the best. I like Furball's question the best.
Yeah, which orifice are you going to use to birth the child? You got to pick now.
He's gonna hold it in his mouth.
Knuckle
Wait, I
baby.
gotta make a term.
Now wait a second. Wait a second. The question is Furball offering to be the father of Steve's child?
I fixed that problem
No,
years ago.
That's a three-way.
I thought I was gonna be the father.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm the one getting them pregnant. Come on.
But if you're being impregnated and not the one impregnation or impregnator,
Don't judge vegans.
you're not the
He's
father.
trying. He's
You're the
trying.
mother,
He's trying to make it work in his head.
You
Wait,
wish.
are we
You
trying-
wished.
We'll draw a picture later. We'll do
Are we
a
trying to
Hang,
make
hang on. You
between vegan and furball?
Hang on. You wished there's this thing called a joke, and you just
Right.
missed it.
R slash
wrap her head around
I'm
it.
trying to salvage the joke.
No,
A joke.
Jared.
I'm serious. I need the goddamn money.
Because there's no way in hell a male can birth a child.
And
For that
thank
kind of money, I'll figure it out.
hang on.
That's not entirely true.
You wished. Thank you for not only killing the joke, but by repeatedly beating it and kicking it upside the head.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way,
Just
I
look
would have
up
been
r
at
slash
least
boost.
try. Thanks for that. You just
Right?
you just ruined that.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna get an attempt, but no.
the punchline just hit Steve right in the stomach again.
My sapiosexual vagina just dried up.
Oh, seriously.
Oh,
Kara now,
Karis, but I prefer that it's moist.
God.
A moist mind.
I'm too drunk to be part of this stream tonight.
You know what?
Oh,
You know what?
wait. Hang on.
Hey, I'll bring it back a track. Ready? Delayed neutron precursors. I
There it is.
know these things. I know.
Okay. At the point that delayed neutron precursors got mentioned, they went over my head. Good night,
That's not the
everybody.
only thing.
Sweet dreams.
Enjoy you.
When
Follow,
things
motherfucker.
over my head. Oh wait. Yeah, that was me. Drunk as fuck on Slice Right.
It's mass time.
Hang on. You wished. Check Discord. I am sending you a video for homework.
Are you getting links to porn? Because I'm totally down.
Hey, you wished. Go watch that video.
Jared, this isn't My Little Pony. is it?
No. When he no. Hang on. Give it time. You wished. You already said your goodbyes about 5 times. Go watch your video, and we'll talk in the morning.
Pressure exerted on a closed fluid at rest will be transmitted equally unadministered throughout the fluid into the walls of its container.
Oh, God. What are we talking about? Fluid in the walls?
All right.
Who's fluid?
So for the people, who are wondering, the video that I sent him to watch, for a very particular reason, is the Z Frank video on YouTube. True facts about marsupials. You wished is a koala.
Nice.
Okie dokie.
That's adorable.
I thought it was between me and Jared.
Recent now? Jeez.
Whatever.
Actually, that'd be more.
I think my favorite true facts one is.
Yeah, wasn't I in this somewhere? I don't want to be left out now.
I think my favorite of
Okay.
the pranks is true facts about the octopus.
Bobbit worm.
All
right.
right. Oh,
I've said goodnight once. I've got to say goodnight again. I should probably actually go join my wife on the couch. I got to get on a plane
Fine.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Go spend time with your wife.
Bye.
Good luck,
Sweet
homeboy.
dreams.
Fun, thank you.
He's already replied. You fucker.
Good.
Some people should know by now. God damn. Holy shit, it's already 11.
It's 10 over by me.
Yeah, it's 8 over here.
I'm in the only time zone that matters anyways.
Sure thing, bud.
Whatever.
Well,
It's going to be wrapping stuff. What did people think about this? Because, like I said, we're trying to get you some subs in your channel. So everybody in the live chat that's watching this, you should be subscribed to AT2 Productions on his channel, so you can see this every week. And I'll probably drop in more, and I know Vegans every so often, and Karis might drop in every so often.
Sure, send me the links, and I'll be there. It's
Oh.
on Fridays, same time.
And we
as
do
you
our Roman
normally do.
contests on this channel with them as well.
My
And then we have
problem
the
is
after
I
Roman
don't.
Cook, but that's completely
I kind of contrast with some of you in that I got out a lot earlier, so I don't have as much to contribute.
You were still
Yeah, you
there. You
do.
were still
Oh.
part
Yeah.
of it. It's,
Boobs.
Boobs
well,
matters.
there is.
I mean, come on. The one thing that the military has is way too much cock. So we need to bring in the boobs, and we'll be
right. I
good.
mean,
Yes, absolutely.
Agreed.
Right.
Agreed.
you gotta, I mean, we're equal opportunity here, so you got to weigh it out, right? Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I kind of want to answer Kino's question in the chat. Even though I was Army, I have never shot anyone with a gun. I did, however, shoot 3 people with a 300-watt parabolic antenna. So
Sorry.
so we were we were running operations, and this was stateside, and we were aiming at a particular satellite that was like less than 10 degrees above the horizon. I won't say how much specifically, but we were pointing it at a field because that's where the satellite was, and there were 3 surveyors out there, and
Oh no.
we ran outside and we're like, hey, we're transmitting, you guys should really move. And they're like, no, John said we could be here. And we're like, we don't know who the fuck John is. We're about to send, about
I assume
300
it's a
watts
microwave,
of
right?
fucking
Yeah.
radiation at you.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, John said it was cool. And like, we don't know who the fuck John is. We're about to turn this thing on. And they're like, no, dude, just talk to John. It's okay. And then my captain's like, we don't know who John. Fuck it. Turn it on.
They'll feel it soon enough.
You're gonna watch it have a lot of power, but it depends on
Oh.
your frequency. The microwave
There's a-
energy is a lot worse.
So
Because at some
I
point in
think they
time, you have to
received it.
leave the loop.
Oh,
Okay?
oh,
Right.
Well, okay. When
Did their testes get a little warm?
I have no idea. We
more
went back
than
inside
that.
the fan.
So
No,
All right,
I mean,
I have a
you would
story.
think that when fucking 2 military guys, 2 army guys are telling you get the fuck out of the way, we're about to throw a shitload of radiation at you,
you might want to
they
listen.
would leave.
Oh, so
Vegan's got a story. Vegan's got a story.
Yep.
I do.
Oh,
I have
vegan,
a
yes.
story. It's in regards to that question. I've never had to shoot any of my weapons directly at someone. I was a gunner's mate, and I worked primarily with large weapons. So I was
Giggity.
the 7.6 mount captain, and I also did the 50 and the 25. But on this particular story, and I'll try to keep some of it vague because I'm not sure exactly how much has been declassified, but I can tell you this part of the story. We were in the NBL, and the C-130 had clocked one of the fishing boats as being fishing on our side. They clocked them with the GPS or pinged it, is what they called them. They pinged them. And so they actually went through twice to make sure that they hadn't moved. And then that's funny. So what they ended up doing is once they clocked them at being on our side fishing, they had us go out there. And by the time we got out there, they had already made their way back over to their side of the line. But because we had them clocked over with the GPS, we still had to board them. And so we were trying to we got our boarding team together. They went over on the small boat, and they ended up pumping shit as soon as we tried to moor up using the small boat. And so we couldn't obviously moor up with them pumping sewage. So we had to go back and we were telling them to stop pumping sewage and everything else. And they're in their very thick accents were telling us, "Oh, no problem, no problem. Yeah, come over, no problem. Drink some vodka with us," and blah 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 blah. And
That's a good way to
um,
start.
and
third,
so we got our boarding team back on the small boat, and try to get them back over. And then they started dumping their trash or something along those lines right onto the boat, and so they couldn't moor up to them again. Well, by the time that they started to come back again, and the boarding team was like, "Okay, we like this is going nowhere," and they're trying to figure out, okay, what are they going to do now? um Third time's a charm. So then, but there was another boat that was actually coming in, and what we didn't know and we found out later was that the guy who owned the boat was on the other boat, and so they were coming at us full steam, right? And they were directly like in line with us. And so we're getting on to the radio telling them that they need to, slow down and that they're on track to hit us and everything else. And we were like, they ended up calling general quarters again because the boat was going really fast towards us and was not veering at all. And everybody got really scared because we were watching this boat and we're like, where's this boat going? Because it was like they're trying to T-bone us, and we're in the middle of the fucking ocean. I'm like, we're gonna fucking die if this boat hits us. So they told us to lock on, and so we got the coordinates and we were locking on, and we're just waiting for the the order. And so we had one of our shipmates, we had him shoot some just over the bow to try to, as a warning shot, to get him to, turn around and to stop. And they kept coming at us. And so finally, the captain was like, all right, let's see what he'll do if we point the 76 at him. So we swung the 76 over, and as soon as we did, we see the other aft end of the boat turning.
Oh shit!
They
Usually
got
50
so
cows
close
usually have
to
that
our boat,
effect.
so we could literally, if we were on the fantail, you could literally jump from the fantail to their side of the boat. That's how close they got to hitting us. But yeah, that's my story of how we almost had
They
to
drifted
actually
on the
shoot
water.
somebody. Yeah, like seriously, like they were so fucking close. It was like,
Jesus.
damn.
Jay, show that one.
Okay.
But so God's auditor, the that whole transmission bit that you said reminded me of something that someone tried to do aboard my ship. So
I'm not surprised.
oh, so oh, hang on. Let me put this image in your mind. How
Get
many
off the deck.
No, how many of y'all remember the slogan for the ballpark hot dogs? They plump
Kind of
when
more
you
for
cook
Oscar
them.
Mayer wiener.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, you're going to tell a story about seagulls, aren't you?
Oh no, even better. So the E2 Hawkeye, yes, it has a powerful radar dish atop the aircraft, but it also has a trailing wire antenna for its high frequency radio communication system. It uses a drogue and it can trail out a was it a 18 gauge pure uncoated copper wire antenna for up to 3 miles.
Yeah.
HF transmitters for voice communications are fucking powerful.
Yeah.
Some guy decided to trail it out a little bit on the flight deck and then straddle it as his buddy was sitting in the plane and keyed it. Now what happens to a ballpark hot dog when you cook it on the grill just a little bit too long?
It fucking explodes.
Pop.
Oh god. Oh, that reminds me of the pigeons that landed on the fence that one time.
If you buy a 55 Bravo radar, which is microwave energy, which can kill a pilot 2 miles out, and you're up there and you have boob implants, it can actually boil your boobs and they kind of explode.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we we had a couple
right, a legit kill a pilot from 2 miles out. So yeah, you want to make sure that you don't want to nuke your microwave your boobs. If you
would be bad.
I always wanted to place a fucking like a little cup of hot cocoa on the feed horn whenever we were transmitting because I really wanted to heat up my hot cocoa that way. But I never got the opportunity to.
Safe. Like you're not up there, but yeah.
No, but I did manage to kill a couple of pigeons a few times, so that was great.
Here you go, Jared.
Did you eat them? Because they were just dropped dead and be cooked.
No, because so we had like a little camera that was pointed out towards the dish at one point, and we saw a couple of pigeons land on there, and it's like, well, a couple of pigeons aren't going to get in the way of our operations, so
that's true.
Turn it on. Captain says execute. We push the button, and pigeon drops. It's like, well, shit, that happened.
There you go.
Yep.
That's one way to do it.
Greenpeace comes after you, and
right.
Yeah,
they don't know who I am.
Well, that's where you just reorientate the antenna and key it again.
You reorient the antenna because the satellite is in a specific location. You've got to point it one way.
I know someone who was trying. We had we were doing just some. We had to get rid of some of our extra, going bad ammo and stuff like that. And someone was trying to talk their chief into allowing them to try to shoot Sarbach rounds at some birds, and I'm like, that's like trying to shoot a gigantic missile at a fly. What are you talking about?
Well, you want to be sure that you hit your target.
Right.
and everything in a 30 meter radius.
Aren't there countermeasures? Aren't they others used for ECMs?
Starbuck?
Yeah.
It's for like slow moving air targets and stuff like that.
We had the phalanx system. We had the
we had that as well.
The Starbucks are for either slow moving targets or for just playing like chafe system.
Correct. Yeah. And they were trying to do it with and so it's really like, I'm like, what are you talking about? And they're like, I think it would be really cool. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'm like, no. No, we called it the Sea Whiz, and that was in that was in the aft end of it, which
R2D2 with an erection.
Yes, very phallic. And then in the front was the 76. Which I worked on. That was my baby. In 76 school, we had the one thing that was the most challenging about 76 school was the wheel for breaking open the breech. And there's like, I think it, like off the top of my head, I would like to say it was like 50 pounds or something like that you just had to move the wheel to open it up, and that's so you can like take some of the rounds out, or we would lock it open when we needed to do certain types of PMS. And that was like one of the hardest parts of 76 school, because when I joined, I was 17 and I was this big, I was tiny. And so I
virtual
literally,
Vegan?
tonight.
I
Are you
literally
seeing the
worked out.
picture that's up right now?
You'll grow big and strong one day. Yes. And then we'll
That's
take
super
all your
convenient for
assets.
what you were talking about.
That's right. I'm telling you. Like, I worked out every day trying to get up my strength, because when I first got in, I couldn't move it. I just had no upper body strength. And so for the 3 months that I was in that school, I literally every day was working out, trying to get strong enough to just be able to crank that wheel. And so, and then, I mean,
We
you could,
worked out in the engine room. I mean, we had I would do like pull-ups and sit-ups
yeah,
and chest things and all kinds of stuff. That's, I mean, when you have 5-hour watches, you
right.
generally have to pass the
You
time.
just
Most of us
figure
worked out. I was
shit
in
out.
good shape.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in really good shape. What the fuck
And
happened? I don't know. But I mean, I was.
fleshlights and
That's a different kind of workout. And I'm
Oh, I
telling
got
you, I don't know how
flashlight
the hell you have
stories.
those on board your ship. Why would you have a flashlight? By the way, that's weird. But
I'm
Not my
referring to
flashlight.
I'm referring to male barracks.
oh, I don't think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that one. That was a
No,
good
I don't
game.
think those existed at the time.
There's
They
literally a
existed.
time.
Did they? Get the
Oh wait,
fuck
maybe
out.
not while you were in. That was a
Yeah.
different time.
So
A different era.
We didn't have flashlights. What we had was
That
low
was before
total.
the technology had been invented.
We had what's called the barrel koi.
So Coast Guard is so like, you have like no budget for anything. And there was literally one time where we were on patrol, and the shaft actually broke, and
Ow.
like
Ow.
completely broke.
There's
That's why-
a
that's
medical
why-
term
that's
for
why
that.
they
It's
did
called
flashlights.
penile fracture.
Yes, yes, the whole shaft.
I'm sorry to derail
broke.
your story, but goddamn,
Oh yeah, it is an emergency situation. If you ever experience
it's a real
this,
thing, guys.
there will be no mistake. Seek medical attention. Seek emergency attention immediately, as you were saying.
All right, vegan, continue, please.
Okay, no problem. So we're in the middle of where we were limping back to I had to use it.
Yeah,
come
you
on.
would be limping, I bet.
Yeah, we had to
I don't
limp
think you
back
would even
to
be
port.
doing that.
But we were dead in the water for 36 hours, because of the fact that we couldn't go anywhere. We had no shaft. And we were trying to figure out what the heck we were going to do. We ran out of potable water. We were getting low on stores, everything else. It was really shitty. And we literally had to duct tape the shaft, like, in order to get it to work enough. To
I'm
get
getting
us back
very
to port.
images.
So this one time I got kicked in the balls.
And by the way, do you know what they have at the end of the shaft? They have a screw.
just the tip, Steve.
Oh God, there's too many euphemisms.
True story. One of the most classified things about a ship is information about that screw. The number of the type of impeller it has, the number of blades it has, the pitch of it is, the cavitation. Those are all very secret things, because if a person, like a submarine, knows your cavitation signature, they know what ship it is. They have information on it. They can,
They can do the math on all of that. Yeah.
So
people think
keep information about your shaft and screw, privilege in private.
I'm telling you, like, it was crazy though, because we had, that was one of my, it was like my third patrol, and yeah, I was just like, what are you talking about? Yeah, I didn't really know too much about everything, but yeah, we literally had to duct tape to get back. I was like, That's Coast Guard ingenuity for you.
duct tape
You
is great.
literally got to
Yeah.
do what you got to do when you're in the middle of the fucking ocean. Yeah.
Well,
We had a
there is a
jerry
great
rig so much stuff it was ridiculous.
Right.
There is
I
a
guess
great
we would end
saying.
up being like limping around on our outboard for a short bit.
Well, there is a great
Oh, look,
saying
the
though.
shaft.
If you can't duck it, fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck it.
That's right.
Yep.
You know,
So-
it's a true story. We had 4 valves that were in next to the reactor compartment, and the 4 valves were suck. It was
More euphemisms.
Yeah. One was called suck, which for the primary.
It seems
safety-
Keyboard Warrior is late to this party.
Well, keep in mind there is a minor delay because we are using
Oh,
OBS.
that's right.
Mm.
It was, I can't remember one of them was called fuck, and what the fuck valve did was seriously one was suck, one was fuck, and what suck did was you basically replenish water to the secondary system, but what the fuck did is open it up to sea. So seawater would come into your secondary system and your primary system if your reactor got too hot, because if you had opened that valve, you were fucked. you're done. You're dead in the water. Your reactor's never coming back because you now exposed the primary side to seawater, which is
Seawater.
going to be
Yeah,
gross.
that's not
Yeah.
good.
It's not good, right? So that valve was chained. It had to be chained at all time. But we had a valve that we actually called the fuck valve. Yeah.
Oh,
True story.
nice.
Yeah.
A fuck valve. All right, that's
You know,
now
and
my new term. I'm using that judiciously now. The fuck valve.
And
Yes,
with,
you
and with
got
that,
it right.
and
You got to say it right. Fuck valve.
and
Fuck
and
valve.
with that, with the
don't
best
care.
named valve
There you
in
go.
the U.S. Navy.
No, wait, Jared. No, wait. The best named valve was actually the DD-214 valve. There's a valve.
Oh,
Dirty drains.
no.
Yes, I swear to God, Dirty Drains 214. That was the best named valve. We all wanted to get the fuck
Fascinating.
out.
Right.
Well, I got the wonderful DD-214 blanket, but speaking of, yeah, some of us motherfuckers got to be on the road for work in a little over 4 hours, so it's time to call this to an end for at least the live
you.
portion.
And thank you all for your service.
And thank you, and
For
thank
what
you,
it was.
thank you for taking this invasive persuasion of insolence onto your channel so well. I mean that is a thing,
Probably
Steve. You always take
Steve
it
can-
so well.
Steve can
Jared.
take a lot. He can really.
Hey, Jared, looks like you have a fellow brown shoe out there.
Yep.
I've learned to take it quite well. Thank you.
Hey, hey, the wire chasers.
We gotta end it with a double entendre.
Oh, of course. But Chapter House,
This
glad
happens
to
every
see
time.
you. Yeah,
Right?
glad to see you. We are wrapping up. We are getting out of here. Go ahead and watch the replay. If you want to see more of this insane, asinine bullshittery where we're laughing at each other and anything and everything, go on over to my channel where this happens just about every Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. Pacific. And
And if you don't want to watch the whole video, just go 87 minutes in.
yeah, start there. Start there.
That's right.
Is that is that
Oh, I typed that. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Committed to memory.
Downloaded.
very nice?
Now you know what the snapshot's gonna be for the thumbnail.
Who's gonna be in the week? Steve, where you been, Lex?
Lord.
But yes, in a matter of moments, movie night will be starting over on Strike's channel. So if you are interested in further damaging your liver while watching stupid, go ahead on over there. In the meantime, these people are going to do whatever the fuck they want. I'm going to get some sleep and then try not to run too many assholes in Connecticut off the road in the morning. Wish
that'll be
wish
nice.
me luck.
Good luck.
Good luck.
And
Do as
good
many as you need
night,
to.
everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Bye.
It was fun.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.